Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back. Annie and Elsten here to wrap up your work week and fire you up into the sports weekend on your number one San Diego sports station. That's 97.3 The Fan with Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Suprenant. I'm Craig Elsten in our Odyssey studios overlooking Murphy Canyon. The skies are gray. Our thoughts are brightening as we think about the weekend that will be. But first off, how's it going, Annie?
Hello, good morning. Happy Friday. It's going great. Love a Friday.
Yeah, well, because you can see that finish line.
Oh, yeah.
It's right there. It's right there.
Closer and closer.
Well, we're going till 2 o'clock today. Gwen and Chris will check in then. What time's the game today, Braden? Is it 6 o'clock or 6:30? This is
It's
big time.
6:40.
6:40. There it is.
They have the same times as us.
Right. Yeah, now we're even up with them.
Yeah.
Because they refuse to
Yes.
do the daylight savings.
Right. But
They-
also they start at the 40 time like we do.
Or is it that they never stop doing the daylight savings?
They don't change anything.
Right, they
They
don't
don't
change
change.
They just stay
anything.
the same
Yeah.
all the time.
We change.
Yeah, everybody else around them changes. They don't. So they jump from mountain time to Pacific time, never having to change the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona. Never change, Arizona.
That's right.
Never change. Diamondbacks, Padres, 3-game series this weekend, getting things started with Dylan Cease on the hill tonight. Padres trying to extend a mini 2-game winning streak. It's not even really a streak till you get to 3, but they've won back-to-back. So you'd like to see them keep that rolling. And this is it. This is the last of the NL West matchups. We've talked about the Diamondbacks for months, and now here it is, May 3rd. First time we get a chance to see the Diamondbacks in person.
Good time to be hitting the Diamondbacks. They've got quite a few injuries. Some of their best players are not performing quite up to where their normal numbers are. So you still have some good hitters on that team. You've got some good pitching. It's still, I think, going to be competitive. But I think if they had less people on the injured list, this would be a much worse kind of a matchup going in. You know, like on paper, you'd be like, oh, they got this guy. And so far, the Padres are closer to 500 than they are. The Padres are 16-18. Diamondbacks are 14-18.
Yeah, and we'll dig into Arizona a little bit as we usually do. We get into everything going on and get into the weeds with these teams. And we'll give you a fulsome preview. But I mean, right now, Geraldo Perdomo's out, Alec Thomas is out. That's on the position player side. On the pitching side, no Eduardo Rodriguez all year. Their number one free agent acquisition has been unable to go. He took a spring training rib injury, I believe. And Merrill Kelly, who was their number 2 starter in the World Series last year, he's out as well. So you are seeing a somewhat reduced version of Arizona this weekend. Zach Allen was supposed to pitch today. They pushed him back.
It's not going to go till Monday now.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, the Padres end up, still facing, I'm not saying that they're bad pitchers by any means, but not the artillery that some of these other guys have.
I'm glad that Zach decided to take the whole weekend off.
Yeah, well, I don't think that was his decision, but
They play some golf. Zach.
Yeah. I think that they go into, I thought I saw, but you know what, I need to check. I think they maybe play the Dodgers on Monday. I can't. Hold on. No, they don't.
You have a giant printed out schedule of every team?
I do, but I didn't feel like
Bringing the Diamondbacks one today?
pulling that out right now. No, they play the Reds.
Excellent. Well, we know all about that. So it's the start of a 6-game road trip for San Diego from here to Wrigley Field to take on the Cubs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then home to take on the Dodgers next Friday. They don't face the Dodgers till May 20th. We're all on the Diamondbacks schedule now. But with Arizona at 14-18, I don't care about the record. I know they're going to be a better team in the second half than they were in the first half. We know that last year they got hot at the end of the year, and that's all that mattered. And I'm going to look at this all season, Annie, as it's going to be a tug of war between the Giants and the Padres and the Diamondbacks, and you're going to look at it one day, and one team is going to have the upper hand. You're going to look at it another day, and another team's going to have the upper hand. And in the end, it's going to come down to, on the margins, how well these clubs do if they beat each other up. And that's what I'm figuring, is that we'll beat each other up and, 2-1s all over the place.
Yeah, I think so. Look, and the Diamondbacks are a good team. They've got some good hitters. We've seen what some of those hitters can do. They've got power on their team, obviously base running. So they're not a team to count out. I don't know if they're having a little bit of a hangover effect from the World Series, but I feel like they've got a solid manager. They've got a good sense of who they are. So, yeah, you just don't want it's just like we were talking about yesterday on the roundtable. You just don't want to be the ones to get them hot again. I think they've lost their last two. I believe last two. Is that right?
Maybe 2 out of 3 because they won the B game.
They won the B game, and then did they lose the next
Then
two?
they lost the next game. Hang on, I'm right here on the schedule, but yeah, nonetheless.
Okay. Well, anyways, you don't want to be the team that gets them hot, right? Like, and I think that they'll be playing some competitive games.
They lost 5 out of 7 overall. They dropped 2 out of 3 alternating losses and wins. LA last time out, but they've lost 5 out of 7. Little bit of a drag for the team. They were 9-9. Now they're 14-18. So 5-9 over their previous 14 games. So hey, keep a cold team down.
Yeah, and I mean, look, with this, obviously not the exact same team as last year, but this is a Diamondbacks team, like you said, they weathered the storm last year. They got really hot, then they got really cold, then they did just enough at the end to get in, and then they went all the way to the World Series. So a team that knows how to battle, really.
So if starting pitching is going to take the Padres as far as they can go this year, that means for Dylan Cease, this is a great chance to continue the momentum that was started by Yu Darvish and continued through Joe Musgrove on Wednesday afternoon. This is a chance for Dylan Cease to face a team that regularly starts 5 right-handed batters. And while I know he gave up a few hits to the Phillies righties last time out, I think that's what we call regression to the mean. He wasn't going to go 1 for the season against right-handed batters. He was going to give up a few hits here and there. So if Trey Turner gets him and Alec Boehm gets him, I guess that's fine. But Christian Walker, Lourdes Gurriel, like they've got some key right-handed hitters on Arizona that Dylan Cease is going to. Christian Walker, I mentioned, Eugenio Suarez, Gabby Moreno. These are players that Dylan Cease needs to control. And Corbin Carroll right now is in a slide. So keep Corbin cold has got to be one of the driving themes of the weekend.
But Christian Walker and Ketel Marte, not, right?
Not cold?
Not cold. I don't think cold. Right. So,
No.
but yeah, no, you're one of your best hitters is not hitting to his, what we've seen from him. So yeah, you definitely want to keep that going if you can.
I mean, he's walked 16 times. I'm talking about Corbin Carroll.
Corbin.
He has stolen 8 bases. So he's still fast and he's still annoying. But his slash line is 197, 299, 248. So 546 OPS is below Xander, folks. That's sub Xander in terms of having a tough start to the season. Corbin Carroll, a lot younger, but a player that they count on to be their best player.
How many times has he walked?
16.
Oh, wow. So he's going to give you a good at-bat, most likely.
Yes, absolutely. 16 walks against 22 strikeouts, but only 23 hits on the season. So keep Corbin cold.
Yeah.
That's our bumper sticker motto for the weekend, along with eat your avocados. Let's see. Does the day off kill the avocado momentum? Or if we all consume enough of the green superfood today, will the Padres have enough pop?
We'll find out.
We will.
How do avocados age in Arizona?
I feel like they've got good avocados in Arizona.
Do they?
I don't know. Don't you have to? They have to be planted on like a hill and stuff.
Yeah.
It might be too hot
sand
for 'em.
everywhere. They've got to all be imported, so I don't think they're as fresh.
Yeah, I
There's
think they're
always-
imported here too. So
Well, there's avocado farms in Central California.
Fallbrook's got tons of them.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we get delicious
but I don't know if those
Fallbrook
are like the
avocados.
ones that are
Well,
in
sometimes
Vaughn's, are they?
well,
Like,
they have their own. They have their own deals. Their own
that's
manufacturing
true. That's
deals.
true.
Well, I just don't think it'll hurt. So until we lose, we're going to say eat your avocados because it was a bit, and bits continue until you lose. And that's the rule.
Got it. Okay, so today,
Go.
yeah,
Eat. Slice
but
it
by
up.
Monday,
What-
it
if
might
they
be
win
over.
3 in a row, then we're going all in.
yeah, for sure.
Did I Google avocado t-shirt? Yes, I Googled avocado
I mean, that's
t-shirt.
just something to get, anyways. Like people would stop you in the store. Hey, man, I love avocados too.
Right.
Like there's all those avocado jokes.
Just trying to make connections throughout the
Right.
community, throughout humanity. Avocados are good.
I hope that you become an ambassador for avocados.
Well, I'd prefer to be a paid ambassador.
Well, yeah, or
For
they can
avocados.
give you avocados.
I could be persuaded to be paid in trade. However, how many avocados am I getting? Because
Before they spoil. and-
yes,
yeah.
that could be actually a problem.
Guys gonna be peddling avocados.
Yeah. Yes, like-
right. I'm asking
green
everybody
market.
hey, would you like an avocado? Hey, I'm just annoying all my friends, lighting up the Discord. Who needs avocados?
You're right. You would need to get like a paid money on this, plus like a bag of avocados a month or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. A reasonable amount to
Yes,
consume.
an avocado influencer. I bet they have those.
I'm sure they do.
You can cut up the clips and send it to like Big Avocado,
Send it to
whoever that is,
Whoever that may be.
whoever that may be.
It's a lower level boss in a martial arts video game. Oh no, I'm facing Big Avocado.
He strikes again.
All right. Enough nonsense. Enough nonsense. We have some good Padres discussion as the show goes on, and it won't all involve our superstitious and delicious consumption.
I wouldn't mind some avocado toast right now.
I'm down.
Or brunch.
Yeah. Who wants to provide?
Yeah, let's just swing by and drop it off.
If you'd like to drop off some avocado toast and take care of the show, just boom, clear out our obligation all at once, we will accept it. All gifts will be accepted. Most all gifts will be accepted. As the show continues, we've got plenty of Padres topics to discuss, including Jackson Merrill, Adrian Morahone, Donovan Solano, an update on our Dodgers minus Rockies key stat to the whole season, maybe even a vision for the future that I had last night. I slipped in the bathtub and just had a vision
You
for the
slipped
future.
in the bathtub?
I didn't actually
Oh.
slip in the bathtub.
Come up,
Is that a
did you come
reference that
did
I
you
don't
come
know?
up with a flex capacitor while you're doing that?
Yeah.
That
Did you
is
sink into the vortex?
All right, Doc
that's the
Brown.
reference.
Oh, wait,
that's
what,
the reference.
where, what are we
Braden
at?
had the reference.
Is this Back to the Future?
Back to the
That is
Future.
correct.
Okay.
He slipped in the bathtub and he came up with the flex capacitor.
You didn't see Craig's new Subaru that's decked out like the DeLorean.
No.
Well, because it's a fake.
Oh.
It's fictional.
Time
Oh,
machine.
wait, I should have gotten that.
Didn't happen. That's why. That's the only reason why.
Well, did you really have a vision, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not like literally, but like I had one of those light bulbs, like ding.
Yeah. I can
I've
I
got an
feel it.
idea.
I see one. It's over your head right now.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that as we continue forward. Of course, at 11 a.m., we always get under the hood of the San Diego Padres, our deep dive segment. This one is going to be led by Braden. Braden's been doing some deep research on
Statistician work.
on how the
right.
Padres have been doing specifically at the plate, Padres hitters versus the fastball. Interesting info to pass along coming up at 11 a.m. Some surprising names that have struggled against the fastball for the San Diego Padres. So Braden will take us down that statistical tour, and we will provide our thoughts. Coming up at 11 o'clock. Looking forward to that. 12 o'clock Sports Fix is always a fulsome one on a Friday because it's the weekend preview. We've got Stanley Cup playoffs. We've got NBA playoffs. We got plenty of things happening with our local teams, even now into the late spring, heading to summer. So that's coming up at 12 o'clock. We'll play Fast Money at 12:40. Our silly game. Last chance to qualify for the two-night stay at the Westview and tickets to see Cool and the Gang.
Get it in.
Yep, this show, Chris versus the fans at on Friday
Yes.
at 4, I think, and then that's it. Then the field is set, and then the drawing takes place. I don't know by who. I assume Adam.
I know who. How does this happen? Like who picks into the
Is
hat?
it Presley? Just
Maybe Presley.
yeah.
Probably Ricky.
Do we find out like who won?
Do they do a cool internet
Would you
wheel where they
remember
put everyone's names
if
in?
they were like, "Hey, Craig, so and so won"? Would you remember if that was a games person?
They send us an email every month
Oh, really?
that says who wins, and they give us their number if we want to call and congratulate them.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
There it is.
Wow.
But we've
It's
obviously
really extra.
have never done that, so because this is not our first month doing this.
Okay, then. Nonetheless, we'll play
have Annie
Fast
call
Money.
the winner.
We'll play Fast Money, and we hope you're the winner today
Congratulations.
at 12:40. Fourth hour, we'll have Crossing Streams with Media Melanie coming up at 1:20, and we'll wrap up the show with Ask Us Anything. And I think we'll keep the clock fair to actually have an Ask Us Anything segment today.
Yeah. Kind of ripped past that one yesterday. Sorry.
Today we had 45 seconds at the end of the show, so that was
That's how it goes sometimes.
yeah, bad on me.
No, I was continuing to talk. I think I looked over at the clock one time and I was like, eh. So
Not that big of a deal.
I was like, eh. You know what? I didn't realize how long the commercial break is and how little time we would have on the other end.
Yeah, generally just think 5.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll take 5 right now. 10:15 shows underway. Something I'm really looking forward to seeing on the road from the San Diego Padres, a return to simplicity for their center fielder. Let's get to that when we come back. Annie and Elsten until 2 o'clock on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 10:22 on the Fan. Welcome back. Annie and Elsten with you. Annie Halburn, Craig Elsten, Braden Suprenant, newly shorn. Explain to us that it's a once every 6 months haircut schedule.
I'm on a twice-a-year haircut schedule. That's why the
Save a lot of money that way.
That's right. I'm running haircut places out of business. My my frequent flyer punch card, I only have like 2 spots on it. 6 haircuts free. Oh, that's sweet. I can't wait to use that in 2035.
You know, come COVID time, Annie, I just bought a razor and handed it to my wife and said, could you please just start going to town?
Like buzzing it?
Well, the number
Sure.
2. The number 2.
Okay.
Not all the way down.
Right.
I handed a razor to my wife, and I said, go to town.
I
Like,
mean, it
just-
kind of made sense during that time, right?
really
like
did.
who was like really seeing, or I remember everyone was learning. If you didn't know how to dye your hair or how to do this or that, like you picked up a lot of skills with the hair.
Yeah.
Over COVID time.
I had just gotten my haircut right before that, so I was locked in for 6 months. I was in for the long haul.
Now, there's a great little barber shop right in the strip mall, that's closest to our house, which is where my son always gets his haircut. And of late, I think the last 2 times I got my haircut, I went there and I paid to get a haircut because they're so much gentler than my
you
wife
get like
is.
probably like the scalp massage and
Yeah,
oh
they're,
wait,
like,
does
really
Barbara
nice.
do that?
No, Mitzi just like she's mowing the lawn. And like, I always feel like I'm under attack.
Get her done.
She's got a weed whacker just back
Yeah.
there.
Seriously. And sometimes I'm like, do I still have an ear? Okay, I do. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
I wouldn't piss her off before
Yeah,
your
when you see
haircut.
like blood.
No. Yeah,
you know,
right.
on the
She'd just be
ground.
like, keep your eyes down.
Especially if you have been neglecting in your house duties or something like
yeah.
that.
Which you
This
can
is,
always
she's got
find
all
something.
the power right there.
Can
Forgot to
always
take
find
out-
something
forgot
there.
to take out the trash. She's missing an ear.
That's right. That'll teach you,
That's
hubby.
right.
Well, so yeah, but as she says in the chat, though, it's free. So I mean,
it's
it just
great.
I get what I pay for.
That's
I can either have a
right.
free haircut that, you know, she does a great job. She does a tremendous job. We'll
gets
be
the
happy.
job done. It's great.
If she'll do it tonight, I'll be happy for it. You know, because I'm due. I'm about to. Anytime I can start to see the great temples pop back up.
I do get it, Mitzi. Plus, she's working full time. She's got things to do.
Sure.
She's not just
She's
sitting
not a
around waiting
pro.
for your.
Yeah.
She's not Googling how to make Craig's haircut better.
No. Yeah. I mean, she doesn't have the big barber's chair and the lovely, you know, little puffy thing. You know, that little powdery thing that they do.
Yes, I do.
It's really nice.
It would be, wow. Maybe you could ask for that for like an anniversary gift.
Hey,
she
yeah.
gets on Amazon and whips out the cape that you put on.
They offered it like, hey, can I touch up your, eyebrows? Can I touch up your
Oh, wow.
mustache or whatever? They're looking for a tip. They're looking for a tip. So, I'm with Braden. I had been destroying the barbershop business by just giving Mitzi a razor and saying, please, 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 for 4 years.
Brought him out of business.
Yeah, but nonetheless, Mitzi's like, keep backtracking. There's no backtracking. It's true. I enjoy it. Just and then I gotta vacuum, right?
Well, yeah, she cut your hair.
Right. So
You
I gotta
vacuum.
clean up. I gotta clean
Yeah.
up everything. So sometimes paying for it.
Yeah,
Just,
it's like the whole if you cook,
just-
the other
it's
person
just easier.
cleans.
yeah.
You look at that pile of hair on the floor and you go, bye bye.
Yeah.
Thank you
Enjoy.
very much.
Thanks.
Yeah. Has the cost of barbering gone up significantly?
Yeah.
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 But still, it is a nice little treat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys probably, like you said, you don't do it a lot. So
Right.
it's probably,
It is. It's a nice treat.
Lovely.
That,
yeah.
I'm somebody who likes the not chatty barber. Are you someone who likes the chatty barber?
Oh, no, I'm a not chatty. Like
Yeah.
if I get a massage or something, don't chat, please.
Right.
Don't chat.
Yeah. Get locked. You want to get
Like
into
that
your
sort of
your
thing,
focused.
like barber, yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, my hair woman, she's really my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just chit chat and then we'll both be quiet, but we don't care,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have a relationship.
Well, also my hair, like that takes like 2 hours. How
Really?
long does
Yeah.
barbering take?
Oh, God, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
How long does
I mean, well, I
barbering
guess I
take?
wouldn't mind so much about the small talk if it's 15 minutes. Mine is like 2 or 2.5 hours.
Yeah. No.
That's a
it's-
lot of small talk.
Yeah.
That becomes large talk.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we'll catch up and then we'll kind of be quiet for a little bit. Then we'll catch up about other stuff and that sort of thing. But yeah, 15 minutes, I feel like you can.
Yeah,
You can
just
withstand.
nice and. But no, I like that nice, peaceful. Just like we're both in this client service relationship. Just peaceful,
Yes.
touch up, boom, out the door. Nice. Now I'm dreaming about it. Maybe Mitzi's off the hook.
I think
now that I'm
barbershops
thinking about
are.
it.
I think it's a very cool industry. Like obviously rooted in so many different things around it, community, but also the skill. The skill is a good skill. Like it's like there's a lot of barbers who take so much pride in what they do, and that's fun to see.
Yeah, when I was growing up, there was one on 2nd Street in Long Beach that my dad went to and took me to, and it was like the old barber shop, and it was the same barbers, the same 3 dudes, like forever. And like, I went back 25 years later. Right.
And like I see in the chat, the barbers, the therapists, exactly. Like they hear all the dirt. They know all the. I've done that before. Like you sit down, you're like, how's it going? Well, so and so this, such and such that.
They know all the tea, man.
They know all the tea. Exactly.
Satan's Blowfish gets it in the chat, though. He says, you guys talk for a living, so I could see not finding the chatting experience as appealing. And that's right. That's right.
Sometimes I'm tired of talking.
There's a barber that comes into the Padres clubhouse, into the opposing clubhouse, and guys will get their hair cut. But now, like if you're a playa, there's a few around town that they're like their personal barbers. They go to their houses and shine them up, and you guys all see it on
Solarte
Instagram.
used to do people's hair? I'm trying to remember. There was a Padre that was doing everyone's hair for a while.
I don't know. It's good.
That's been our hair deep dive on Annie and Elsten. Here's a little baseball for the segment. I mean, I honestly, probably this was enough for as long as it's going to take. Jackson Merrill's 0 for his last 19. And he's heading back out on the road. And you can look at this one of a couple of ways. You can be cute and look at the road home splits and go, here we go. Jackson's ready to go get 3 hits a game because he sits so well on the road. If you look at it as kind of more of a rolling plate appearance type situation, you can say, I'm a little concerned going on the road how Jackson Merrill's going to perform. So I've got 2 thoughts. We all love Jackson Merrill and understand that he's got the kind of swing that should keep him out of extraordinarily long slumps. 0 for 19 is the longest of his big league career so far. Watching him live last week, I felt like I was watching a kid just trying to do one tick too much. Little bit too hard, a little bit too much lift, a little bit too much. I'm trying to hit the bomb. I'm trying to get things rolling again for myself. And in so many athletic endeavors, as you know, Annie, less is more. And I'd like to see him get back to that, letting the ball travel deeper into the zone, taking it to left field, slashing line drive swing. That's when I'll know Jackson's great.
And what's great is he had a day off yesterday, kind of lets you regroup and take a look at some of that too, because it can be hard sometimes when you're going through the slump or in the middle of a homestand or whatever, to really dive deep into maybe what you're seeing from the pitcher and things like that. But you have a little bit of a day off, clear your mind, come in, new ballpark, new series. You feel like it's, you turn the page a little bit. So I feel like we might be seeing a little bit more of Jackson Merrill's road numbers as we've seen him, and maybe this will be a good little shift for him to break out of that slump. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll stay in it far too long because of what you just said. As long as he's not pressing, he's pretty smart about which pitch to take and where to drive the ball.
And when he was hitting 342, we said, not like we're trying to pat each other on the back or anything, but like we said, this isn't the level. He's playing at an incredibly, high surge right now. And today, Jackson Merrill comes into the game hitting 269, which is fine. I mean, that's a fine number. So, like, at the point where Jurickson's average goes a little bit south, it's the same thing. Like, people rise and fall, and then they get into a spot, and you just hope that spot that he settles into is kind of that 280, 285 range.
Yeah, and you want to see him, how he responds to this, right? So if he does go through a more extended slump, or if this is it, either way, like, what is your body language? How are you coming to the ballpark every day? How are you doing your work? Are you sitting back? Are you sulking? Are you trying to just kind of let things a little bit be calmer about maybe how things are going? And he so far to me has looked like the pro that he's looked all season, right? But it's really going to be about how quickly you can get out of that slump and how quickly you can kind of push things around, and he might go through a few of these throughout the season. We don't know, there might be a few weeks of these every so often, and maybe not. And he's shown that he is a hitter that seems to be above his experience level, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, to start the season, like we saw with Jackson Holiday, what's gone on, Jackson Merrill has not had that problem. He's come up and he's looked very comfortable, and he's seen to be able to take on big league pitching pretty well. But they're going to adjust to him, and he's going to have to adjust back, and it's all going to be about how quickly he can kind of mentally take that thing and turn it around.
Mike Schilt this morning on his manager's report with Ben and Woods played coy when he was asked about Donovan Solano, suggested that he hadn't had conversations with the AAA coaching staff, intimated that he would do so in a phone call on the way to the ballpark. Until I'm wrong, I believe that Donovan Solano will be a Padre today. And I think that if it's not announced officially, Mike wasn't going to let anything fall. And so he played it coy. But when I listened to it, he didn't explicitly say that he wasn't going to come up, nor that there was no chance that he would come up today.
He is very strategic, and Mike Schilt very much believes in not giving anything away, like very much. So whatever kind of little edges he thinks he can find, whether or not, it's real prudent or not. I mean, look, they're probably preparing for the chance that Donovan Solano comes up today as well. But I could see it happening. I could see perhaps he is on his way, or he's taking a flight, or maybe he'd be here throughout this. Maybe he'd join them in Arizona at some point throughout the series. I'm not sure what the holdup is. He's hitting fairly well from what I can see. Maybe there's something that Donovan Solano is trying to find with his swing that they're just giving him a little extra time for, something like that. Because it would make sense I think, to call him up. I'm not sure what it would hurt, I guess. Unless they just want more looks at Graham Pauley or...
What more do we need to see? I mean, I hope, as usual, they've got a better idea of anything than we do from the outside. They always do. So that's something I've learned. When I was younger, I thought I knew better, a number of times. Like, I know better than them. And then you find out things after the fact and you go, oh, wow, I actually didn't know. So they have always a slightly better idea. So maybe Graham Pauley has been absolutely killing it in the batting cage. Maybe he has been socking the ball during batting practice. Maybe he's doing side sessions with the hitting coaches, and it's been really, really productive. All of that is possible, but what he's done in the big leagues in the lineup has not been that appealing, and hitting him fifth the other day was wild. Like, that was more of like, I don't think you had any good options. So the last point I was going to make, tying Merrill to Solano, is, until they prove me wrong, I think he'll be up today. I think he'll be in the lineup today. It's a beautiful opportunity to let Jackson drift back into that final third of the lineup. Low pressure, lesser stakes, hitting 7 or 8.
Where he thrived.
Because that was one of the things I really thought I saw when I went to the Phillies series and when I went to the Reds series and watched. I thought I saw the 6th spot, which gets up with more runners on scoring position. Like, it finds its way into more RBI opportunities. I didn't feel like those at-bats in RBI opportunities reminded me of the Jackson Merrill I had watched the first 3 weeks of the season. It looked like a kid that was pressing a little bit and letting the pitcher take command of the at-bat because he was thinking result as opposed to process. So now that's me obviously infusing a lot from watching from Section 307. But I'd be happy to see him hit 7th instead of 6th today. Yeah,
and that's something I'm sure Victor Rodriguez, their hitting coach, and their other hitting coaches as well, are talking to him and other players about. Just sit back, let that pitch come to you. Like I said, Jackson's a smart player. It's also, when you come through as kind of the hero in some of those games early, you expect it for yourself, and that's great. But sometimes I think like you said, you're coming up to bat and you're thinking, hey, I did this in San Francisco. I did this before. Let me do it again. And sometimes, that can take you off your game a little bit.
I mean, it could be as simple as a 21-year-old kid is at home. Fans are cheering him. He sees his number on jerseys in the stands. People are chanting his name in the outfield. I would not be feeling any less of him at all if, as a 21-year-old, he was trying to overperform at home. And it's part of why he has struggled so badly at home. I would accept that as an explanation and not just like, well, it's the vagaries of the season. And, so we'll see if being out there where no one gives a hoot about him in the outfield in Arizona or getting serenaded by the bleacher bums in Chicago where they hate everyone equally, if that will take a little pressure off of Jackson Merrill.
I don't know. He doesn't strike me as like that mattering that much to him. And I'm sure things like that do play in. There's obviously intangibles that do play into players and have some kind of an effect. But it is going to be interesting to follow and also see maybe if the numbers start to, I mean, they're pretty far apart right now. So, but maybe start to find a little bit more balance. The hitting just seems to be as a team better on the road. And I'm not sure why that is right now with Jackson Merrill specifically, but it'll be interesting to follow, and hopefully they can all start to turn around a little bit more at Petco Park too.
Let's take a timeout. Annie and Elsten rolling forward. We're going to get into it at 11 a.m. Stay tuned. Braden's done a lot of research on how the Padres are hitting against number one, against the heater. And some of it will definitely surprise you. So stay tuned for that. We continue to talk Padres baseball on the other side of this break, so don't go anywhere. Annie and Elsten on The Fan. Listen to Sam Levitt's podcast, Inside San Diego Baseball. Sam will cover everything going on with the Padres. You can find it at 973thefansd.com, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Maybe Sam was recording his podcast.
Perhaps. I walked past him and he was staring at like a ceiling.
Just staring into the distance.
I think he was pondering something.
I think he was storyboarding
He was
for
in
his
deep
podcast.
thoughts.
He was contemplating life choices.
I think, or he was trying to get something to work. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it on TikTok later.
Yeah, maybe he was coming up with the next viral, sensational
Maybe
moment.
that is
Maybe
the
I was just
TikTok.
walking by him at the most inopportune moment, and he's like, none of that was happening.
I just want to know why he's here. The game isn't until 6:40.
Maybe it wasn't even Sam. You
Pico
know,
Water
you guys know
SoCal
who I
Padres
am,
pregame
how I
show at
am.
5:40. Like, does this kid get in 8 hours before the show?
He's got prep to do.
Not that
No,
much.
I don't know. He's supposed to be doing something else.
Not
Yeah.
that much. Jeez. He's working on his stand-up. He's working on a tight 5 in there. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe we'll bring him on the show. Maybe we'll bring him on match. We'll just replay match game. Bring him on. See if he can make
Go
a match.
for it.
We're not going to do that.
Oh, okay. I was fine with that. I was like, well, let's do
Now
it.
He could be the
Fast Money.
contestant
Yeah.
on Fast Money. Yeah, if he's here at 12:40, he could be the contestant on Fast Money.
Maybe he's not planning to be here as long as we're making him
Well,
out to
I'm
be.
confused, and I'm going to barge in and find out. Not right now. We got a show to do.
That would be great content, though.
Yes.
If you go in there with a stick mic, we'll have a long XLR cord. Just, what are you doing?
I have an update for you guys. I promised it. I wrote it down, and I'm delivering the Craig's Crazy Stat update. This is wins against LA subtracted by losses against Colorado. We brought this up at the beginning of the year. The hypothetical is the team that does the best at this stat at the end of the year will be in second place in the NL West. Which, or maybe first, who knows? If you run the table against LA, good luck. Maybe you'll get first. But we'll have the best of the 3 records.
You're
San Diego,
testing out
LA.
this theory.
I am.
Yes.
We're gonna track it all year and see how it plays. Well, San Diego's in second place right now, so we'd assume they'd be best at this number, right? Well, turns out yes is the answer so far. The Padres have beaten the Dodgers 3 times in 5 games. They have lost to the Rockies 2 times in 4 games. So 3 minus 2 is 1. So the Padres' Craig's crazy stat number is 1. Arizona has beaten LA 1 time in 3 games. They have lost to Colorado 2 times. And I think, interestingly, 7 games. They've played the Rockies 7 times already, Arizona. So 1 minus 2, -1. The Giants have played the Dodgers 3 times, no wins. And they are the only team yet to complete the NL West round robin. They have not faced the Rockies. They will do so next week. It's their next series. They're playing at Philly, and then they'll go to Colorado. After that, they'll play them 6 times in 10 games. But 0 minus 0, 0. So
Is the math mathing?
the math is mathing.
Okay.
We've got 1, -1 for Arizona, and 0 for San Francisco. And right now, the Padres are in second place. So it's worked out so far. Early on. Early days. Early days. There will be 26 results in these buckets by the end of the year.
We shall see how it all pans out. I think it seems like it would make sense that it would turn out this way.
Craig's crazy stat. San Diego up 2.
Okay.
No, up 1.
Up
1
one.
to 0.
Yeah.
1 to 0 to -1.
It's better than being down,
Absolutely.
especially since the way they played in Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Split.
Well, they were at +3, right? They dropped 2 in Colorado to get down to +1. But I think it's interesting that the Diamondbacks are 4 games under 500 and have played 7 of their 13 Rockies games for the year. I don't think that's insignificant. I think that could have at least marginal significance by the end of the year. They're not playing well. They're not in their full strength mode, and they've already burned over half of their games against the last place team.
I think they're going to come back down to earth this year.
Wait,
That was my kind of
which team are we
initial-
talking about?
The Diamondbacks.
The
The
D-backs.
Diamondbacks.
The Rattlebacks.
Eh.
I don't really think. I think they got hot last year. I think they didn't have a lot of expectations. I think the young guys played out of their mind. I think a lot of people underestimated them at the same time. But that being said, I don't think what they did last year they can replicate. Obviously, getting to the World Series would be insane. But I can see them having a way more of a come back down to earth year this year, and it's already starting. Because again, here's the thing: the last year they didn't have it. Did they have any significant injuries last year at all, off the top of our heads? I don't really think so.
The Diamondbacks
I don't
and
know.
injuries.
I can't I mean, they had Carroll the whole year.
They had Marte all year.
Marte never makes it through a year. He made it through the entire year.
I think Gurriel maybe got out for a little bit, but nothing
Their
significant.
pitching was good. They didn't have to worry about it. I don't think they can replicate what they did last year, and I don't know. I just have a feeling they're going to come back down to earth. I think last year was kind of an anomaly year for them.
I think they'll still. I don't know. I mean,
I don't
it's
think
hard
they're gonna
because
suck,
I don't think
though.
they're gonna. I'm not sure that they're gonna suck. Yeah, like they now they have been hit with some bad injuries this year, and that I think that hurts any team. So I agree with you. I don't know that they're necessarily going to the World Series, and maybe they don't even make the postseason, but I don't think they'll be like a rollover team.
Well, keep
They
in
still have
mind,
some good hitters on that team too.
they were basically, Mike Hazen, the GM of the Diamondbacks, his theory of victory this year was bring back all of your young core, bring back Gurriel as one of the glue guys, veterans on the team, and then take your rotation and add Eduardo Rodriguez to it and add Jordan Montgomery to it. And now instead of having Gallen Kelly as your 1-2, you've got Gallen, Montgomery, Rodriguez, Kelly as your 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got some young arms behind Brandon Pfaadt. Brandon Pfaadt is right now their third starter. When everyone gets healthy, he's their fifth starter.
Right.
Wow. That could be the best rotation in the entire division.
Wait, are they going to get guys back this year?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
Montgomery's here, right?
Right.
He had to ramp up. He just had his third start, I think, last time out, and he got bumped around by the Dodgers. But Rodriguez is coming back. They'll expect him at some point. I heard June. You know how it is with pitching injuries. You're always going to be a little bit careful. But they will
Right.
at some point have that. Kelly's on the DL, but or IL, but it's not elbow. Like, he's not out long term. So at some point, they'll have that 1 through 5. And that will be a time that they're going to feel they're going to have the ability to get a winning streak because they're going to have the ability to get on a roll and have one good pitcher after another on the mound.
So they're going to be looking at it kind of the same way we're looking at the Padres, I would think, is just like don't get too far down. Right now you're 4 games under 500. You want to not get, 10 games under 500. Although, again, this is a team last year that started off really hot. They were really looking great. And then I remember when they visited Petco Park, and all the beat writers and stuff were like, yeah, it was nice while it lasted. This team's not going to make the postseason, blah, blah, blah. And then they end up doing well enough in that second half to get into the postseason. And then they obviously took advantage of their opportunities. So I don't know that they're going to be as good as they were last year, but I don't know that this is indicative of who they're going to be in this last week or so.
They're going to be above 500. That's my bold prediction now after watching them play. I think they're going to be 500. I think they're going to be around 81, 82 wins. I think it's going to be a disappointing thing because as fun as it's to say, like in great in theory, it's like, oh look, they're going to get all these guys back. I mean, we've never seen that really happen where they all get everybody back at the same time and it works out where everybody's on their run. I mean, even the thing with remember was that last year, 2 years ago, where they got Robert Suarez back? The Padres did. They're like, oh, this is great. We got a closer-like player back, and it took them forever to get back to the norm. He hadn't pitched all year. I think that might be the case for some of these guys that are facing injuries. But you're going to tell, I mean, like you said, Annie, with and we've been talking about the Padres at the end of May, you can't dig yourself in too much of a hole. Diamondbacks go Padres for 3, Reds, Orioles, Reds, Tigers, who are above
Good
500,
team.
Dodgers, they got the Fish for 3. World Series champion Texas Rangers, and then at the New York Mets.
It's a lot.
That's not necessarily an easy month of May where, they might dig themselves into with all the injuries that they have. They might be in a hole where even if they do get all those guys back and they play really well down the stretch, it might not be enough.
Paul Sewald's out for the team right now, their closer. He's expected back in about a week, but they really do. They have a lot of injuries right now. They're a little nicked up. They've got a couple of guys that aren't hitting the way that they expect them to be hitting by the time the year is over. So it's a great time to take advantage. It's a great time for the Padres to try and get on a roll themselves, to push way back into the back recesses of our minds, our fears of Chase Field. Honestly, every time I see that dumb little warning strip in between the mound and the plate, I just lose my mind.
I
I'm
like
oh,
that.
God.
Didn't they get rid of it, or is it still there?
In my mind, it's still there.
I heard some.
The Tigers
there
had
was some
one,
talk
too.
in the press box about going to Chase Field over the last few days, and they were talking about considering the fact, because that place, the problem with Chase Field especially is there's no energy in there. It's just this flat place. It rarely is that stadium full. You're inside of a dome.
Even in the World Series, it wasn't full.
It's very like generic looking. It just is very like blah.
I was told it's
and
like a
so
Costco.
what I think like what they were talking about and speculating is maybe because of that World Series, maybe they'll get some more fans in. Although I will say, having been there in the past for sidelining, lots of Padres fans go, and so
I bet.
maybe a help for them.
Would that be a good description of it? My friend called it a Costco. It's like watching a game at a Costco.
Yeah, possibly.
Well,
yeah.
No, but that's
Very generic.
which is disrespectful to
Yeah.
Costco because we all love Costco. But it's
I
just
do.
it's
I
just like a
love Costco.
giant. It's like playing in a warehouse. It looks like.
Yeah. It's just very flat.
No life in the place. No character of any kind except for the little piece of dirt between the mound and home plate that Craig hates.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
They used to have
piece of
that. I don't know if they
Maybe
have
they
that
got rid of
anymore.
it.
I think they got rid of it.
Did they? Yeah, for the longest time at Bank One Ballpark, instead of just grass between the mound and the
I think it's
hitting
cool.
area, they put a little like landing strip.
Oh boy.
You haven't
of-
seen that before, Annie?
No, I don't think I've ever seen that, or maybe I just
The
haven't paid
Tigers,
attention
the
to
Tigers have it too. Let me see if I can look up an old picture.
Well, while you do that, let me tell you guys and break some news that the Diamondbacks are going all out to try and create an atmosphere at Chase Field this weekend. They are selling buy one, get one free tickets
Oh wow!
for all 3 games. All 3
Buy
games.
one, get one free.
Yes.
Do you have to live in Arizona?
If Braden's
It's-
thinking of driving up.
No, I mean,
I'm
I
not,
can.
but I'm just saying.
So this is cute marketing. They're doing it based on the bees. You can believe your eyes. Buy one, get one free bee. Valid May to 3rd, 5th games. Use code BGuy, and they're actually using Matt Hilton on their promo material. So that's funny. But let me tell you right now, they didn't do this impromptu for the bees. They did it because they are not selling tickets
Yeah.
for a key division game,
Yeah.
key division series. There you can see the landing
I
strip.
see it.
There's
I,
it
don't,
is.
I
They've had
can't
that
believe it.
forever.
Is it still there?
It's not.
Okay.
It's gone now.
They got rid of it.
That looks terrible.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. They have it in Detroit still, I think.
And they're giving away a Gabriel Moreno bobblehead on Saturday. So they are going all out to try and get 30,000 people to the
And they
ballpark.
probably still won't get them.
Let's do it, Padres fans. Let's help their
get
goal.
over there.
That's right.
Bring some avocados. Hour number 2 of Annie and Elsten next on The Fan. Hour number 2 of the program. Welcome back to it. It's Annie and Elsten with you on Friday, May 3rd, 2024. San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are together. Annie Heilbrun's here, Braden Soprenit as well. I'm Craig Elsten. Our multimedia operation to benefit the Odyssey Corporation. We are on 97.3 FM. Welcome to everybody listening in their car or on their retro stereo in their living room. Dang, you're not only hip, you're cool. I appreciate you, Mr. Record Player Guy. Just a little extra cool, you know?
Oh,
the record
vintage,
player collector.
vintage
yeah,
dude. Yeah, absolutely.
Vintage guy.
Little
Vintage
bit
guy.
hip, little bit collector, little bit.
Ode to the past.
Little nod, little tip of the cap to the past. So shout out to you. Thanks to everybody listening on the Odyssey app. We are available streaming live on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Download it. You can use the on-demand feature. You could go back to listen to Mike Schilt's Manager's Report with Ben and Woods and so much more. We are a podcast. We are talking to you from the past. So thanks, and available on every podcast platform that you can think of, from Apple to Google to Spotify to everything else. We are lastly, not leastly, a YouTube show. We're looking at the cameras every day, 4 hours a day on the 97.3 The Fan webpage. Find us, subscribe to the 97.3 The Fan webpage, click like on the show. I think we're a little low on the likes today. So for everybody that's there in the chat right now, how about a 1, 2, 3, boom, smash that like button. Thank you. Thank you for doing it. However, wherever, whenever you're listening to the show or watching the show. Thank you.
How about this?
How about what?
MLB's official Twitter account. They were centerpieces for the Juan Soto trade. Now, C.J. Abrams and Mackenzie Gore are blossoming. Oh, I like that. Cherry blossom.
Cherry blossoming.
Into stars in D.C. Watch the Nationals take on the Blue Jays at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time on Apple TV+.
I guess we had to know it was coming.
The focal point of the TV ad is check out C.J. Abrams and Mackenzie Gore.
I'm going to say one thing, and I'm interested in what you have to say, Annie. Seeing C.J. Abrams develop into pretty clearly a star in the National League, instead of being depressed about that, it makes me encouraged in the sense that A.J. Preller picked a winner. Like, he's been on a hot streak, it seems like, of picking winners at the top of the draft. Remember, Abrams followed by Jackson Merrill, right? And then thinking internationally, you get Salas, you get DeVries. So he's told us that this kid was going to be this kind of player. We saw him at the very beginning of his career. A lot of people are like, Padres can't develop anybody. How many times have I heard that the last decade? Oh, Padres can't develop anybody under Preller. Well, look at C.J. Abrams. Look, and Matt Gore's pitching to a low 3 ERA. Like, he was right on these guys. These are first-round picks that he nailed.
I was going to make that same point, Craig. I mean, if you're going to go with the whole don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened mentality, the silver lining there is they were good picks. They were good choices to bring onto your team and to have as part of your organization. And you saw something in them when you were scouting them that you were right on. So that is a good sign. And now they're gone.
What gave you a better chance of winning a World Series the last 2 years, C.J. Abrams or Juan Soto? The answer is Juan Soto.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like you can't really be upset about not having the player anymore. It's like, hey, you know what? You have to give something up to get something great in return. What you decided to do with him after the fact is not, you can't go buyer's remorse 2 trades back and be like, I wish we had this guy. Because sometimes when you start playing the game of, well, we could have had this guy here and this guy here and this guy here. Well, you don't necessarily know you would have been making those moves if you had those players.
And
are the Padres trading for Fernando Tatis Jr. if they have Trey Turner at shortstop?
And the Nationals,
big unknown. We don't know.
Wanted those guys.
Yeah.
Those were their guys
Right.
that they wanted, and they clearly saw something in them as well. I remember how much of a bummer it was to see them go, and how, especially for Mackenzie Gore, quiet kid. And when he was traded, man, it tore this kid up. I mean, he was so close. He had become so close with that rotation and with Joe Musgrove and everyone. It's nice to see them flourishing. I think that it's great for them, and it speaks well of, like you said, of the way to scout them. But I just go back to that moment when Juan Soto came onto the Padres, and I'm sure there were people out there that didn't like the trade. I'm sure there were, but the ones that loved it were way, 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 way more in the majority and louder. And so it's easy to look back on stuff now, but I'm not sure that was really the true sentiment when that all happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what people were expecting, for us to completely fleece the Washington Nationals and get Juan Soto for a bunch of guys who never perform in the big leagues. There's no way the Nats would ever make that trade. Like, they had to ask for the top of the basket and look, James Wood isn't in that picture yet. So
that would be the one to me that would be tougher to swallow. Not the C.J. Abrams who was right there in the pros, right? Because you're playing like, well, we want to win now. Not necessarily just keep playing for the future. The one that would hurt is if like James Wood turned into Juan Soto. That's when it's like, all right, well, that's when you lose the trade, is when the guy that you had that was young and controllable for a long time turns into the player that you traded for or better. That's when you might be in a little bit of a jam. But if James Wood, to me, if he doesn't turn into Juan Soto, I'm still okay with the trade.
Padres lost the trade. They were going to lose the trade the day they made the trade. The only way they were going to win the trade was to win the World Series. And if they won the World Series, they won the trade. Even if they gave away 5 Hall of Famers, they would have still won the trade if they had won the World Series with Juan Soto. It was a high-risk play, and everyone knew it at the time and celebrated it as such.
Well,
and I was one of those people.
Anymore.
Right? Well,
Well, and here's the other thing, though, too. If the Nationals do absolutely nothing with it, does it really matter? Or is it just a wash for both teams? Like, if they just continually be bad and they got these players on their team that are good, does it really matter?
Well, they're 500 right now. I mean, they're going to be fine. They made a big trade with the Dodgers. For Turner and Scherzer. They backed it up with a big trade with us, on the Soto deal. And those players are developing into everyday regulars for Washington. And I'm very sure that they'll be a good team before you know it. But just to finish the thought, because we do have a deep dive to get into that Braden has executed, we might, do better clock integrity. Maybe we'll put it in the second segment. But here's the first-round draft picks that have been made by A.J. Preller since he's taken over as president of baseball operations and GM.
They're better than before.
Yeah.
But still.
2015, no first-round pick because of the signing of, I think, James Shields. I believe that he was a player that had a first-round draft pick attached to him. So no draft pick in 2015. 2016, Cal Quantrill, who's still in the big leagues. Made the big leagues, still in the big leagues.
He's a decent pitcher.
Yeah. That's how you judge a first round. Did they make the bigs? Did they stay in the bigs? You can't always find a superstar, but you have to, in the first round, find big league players. Hudson Sanchez in the 24th pick in 2016
Did he sign?
I don't think so.
I don't think he signed.
So doesn't count.
Okay.
2016 25th pick, Eric Lauer. Made the big leagues, still in the big leagues. 2017's first time he picked high, 3rd pick overall, Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah.
Ryan Weathers was the 7th pick in 2018.
Still in the big leagues.
Still in the big leagues.
2-2 with a 4.55. That's not terrible when you're playing for Miami.
Yeah. He's pitching a little worse than Matt Waldron, but he's pitching. 2019, 6th overall pick, C.J. Abrams. 2020, 8th overall pick, Robert Hassel, who is in the minor leagues. I just looked it up. He is hitting .316 in the minor leagues right now.
Back on track.
Yeah, in Double-A for the Harrisburg Senators. So, 2 homers, .883 OPS. So he's in there. He's still a prospect.
They don't need to rush him either. That's the thing.
Right.
They don't need to really rush. Well, I guess if they're 500, they really feel like they can make something, but
they don't need to rush him.
Right,
at all.
they don't need
You're
to
right.
rush him.
No,
Yeah.
your first thought was right, Annie. They don't need to rush him at all. They could be bad again. They don't. Care.
Hudson Sanchez changed his name to Hudson Potts.
That's right. They traded him
and traded for Mitch Moreland in 2020.
There you go. Thank you. 2021, Jackson Merrill in the big leagues. 2022, Dylan Lesko, top prospect in the system. 2023, Dylan Head, high-level prospect in the system.
I mean, I would be interested, for comparison, and we don't have the time or ability to do that right now, how many first-round picks make it to the big leagues? Like, I would guess many. You know what I mean? Like,
what other players are getting picked in that range?
I don't,
you know what I mean? Like, you're picking players that are at the top.
Well, I mean, how many All-Stars are getting picked out of this group? There's usually a lot, right? There's some good ones and some not, right?
Sure. There's plenty of busts in the first round.
But he's got, like those are respectable picks, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like
A quick Google search says around 40% of first-round draft picks never make the big leagues.
40%?
Yeah.
So 60% do.
About 60% do. But it just, listen, I used to do this segment in a different universe. Different station, different universe.
In a galaxy
talking
far,
about
far
a
away.
different general manager in Kevin Towers. Because Kevin Towers did a lot of things right for the San Diego Padres. He was famously known as the sludge merchant. He could find guys down in the sludge and turn them into something useful and then trade them for something better. He was famous for that. But he was also famous for not making great first-round draft picks.
Was that his fault?
Yeah.
He wasn't one of those guys that like couldn't buy anybody because the Padres didn't have any money. So they had to draft guys that would sign.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But
If Kevin Towers got the draft with the Peter Seidler ownership, is he making those same picks?
well, not
That
in
is a big
2004. In 2004, he would have taken, as point of fact, he would have taken Jared Weaver. That's what he was not going to take Justin Verlander, future Hall of Famer. He was going to take Weaver, Jared Weaver, who wound up winning a Cy Young and pitching a no-hitter.
But he's not Justin Verlander.
No, but he was a really good, ready-made, out of college, out of Long Beach State ace that pitched as an ace for the Angels and got paid as an ace for the Angels. It would not have been a bad pick. Matt Bush was the pick he had to make because he was specifically told by John Morris, you don't have the money.
I'm Matt Bleepin Bush.
Correct. Stated, what was the name of that bar?
I don't remember.
In Peoria, McGillicuddy's or something like that. I forget.
Yeah.
But just as a quick rip, Dustin Hermanson, Ben Davis, Matt Halloran, Kevin Nicholson, Sean Burrows, Vince Faison, Garrick Baxter, Omar Ortiz, Casey Burns, Mike Bynum, Nick Treziak, Mark Phillips, Jake Gautreau. That was 1994 to 2001. Basically nobody
Right.
came out of that. Khalil Green, Tim Stoffer, Matt Bush, Cesar Carrillo, and then Cesar Ramos, Matt Antonelli, Kyler Burke, Nick Schmidt.
Does he own a cheese shop now?
Like Kellen Kolbaki, Drew Cumberland, Mitch Canham, Corey Lubke, Danny Payne, Alan Dykstra. This team spent its almost entire franchise lifetime blowing the first round pick. Like almost the entire history. We can keep going through different GMs. Logan Forsythe, Donovan Tate, Karsten Whitson, Corey Spangenberg, Joe Ross, Michael Kelly, Brett Austin, Jace Peterson. It wasn't until 2012 Max Fried you actually get to a star player. Of course, he wasn't for us.
Wait, I'm confused at the argument that Braden made. Is this though because is that a valid point though? Like the payroll was different.
I mean, if you can't sign the guy because you're going to pay under what his allotment is, and then you just go after a bunch of cheap guys that you can sign. I mean, you're going to draft poorly.
Yeah, I mean, there's an element to that. There's also an element to they really thought that these were good players and they missed. They just missed. They missed over and over and over and over again. And then the thing you can say definitively is that stopped when A.J. Preller took over. And A.J. Preller took over before he got the world's biggest, draft allotments and whatnot. And everyone's under the same rules now anyways.
There's a lot of teams that have drafted way better than him too. I mean, Ryan Weathers is good, but some of the picks in that draft were also pretty good.
Yeah, and it's no. I mean, like you got to give yourself a chance with the drafts, and then you've got to obviously be able to develop the talent. I mean, he's got a good. I think the knock on AJ has never been that he's not good at scouting talent.
Oh yeah,
right. And I mean, we see it with the international drafts. We see it with the work that he puts in many international baseball areas to find good players and to turn over every rock to find players that maybe other teams haven't seen and to develop those relationships very early and things like that. But yeah, with the drafting, I mean, it's pretty respectable in that sense.
It's really respectable. Preller's done a very solid job.
Now we would have to get into, obviously, the trades, the other drafts, like the other picks, the roster construct. Like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't tell his whole story. But I think that for AJ Preller, that's always been a positive sign for him or a positive thing.
He could have taken Kyler Murray, but he took Ryan Weathers.
I'll tag it with a
That'd be way
recommendation.
better.
If you're interested in more on this, I remember last year, we have John Percoda on the show regularly. Pods Above Replacement did a really in-depth look, not only at the value of what is the value of a first-round pick, a second-round pick, et cetera. What is the expected return in terms of WAR, returned in the big leagues, and how the Padres have handled that in Preller's tenure, and how the Dodgers have handled their drafts and gotten their value in the exact same period of time. It was really illustrative of how there's two different philosophies. And, of course, the Padres' philosophy has been develop prospects with helium, meaning prospects that get highly rated and get a lot of buzz, and trade them for controllable, understandable big leaguers that they know they can have, guaranteed performance, a la Dylan Cease, Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, right? You trade for starters you can count on using prospects that other teams can dream on. Whereas the Dodgers have generally done some of that and also done a lot of developing those players into big leaguers that contribute to their team.
Well, to answer your question, Annie, about the guys that make the pros, this is the 2019 draft. It's pretty impressive. Adley Rutschman, Bobby Witt. This is in order. Adley Rutschman, Bobby Witt Jr., Andrew Vaughn, J.J. Bleday, Marlins struck out. Riley Green, C.J. Abrams, Nick Lodolo, Josh Young, Shea Langoliers, Hunter Bishop, Alek Manoah. 3 of those guys at the top 11 have made an All-Star game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the first-round players in the 2019 draft have already made an All-Star game.
Yeah.
And that's not even including guys like Brett Beatty of the Mets, who's on a major league team, and Bryson Stott of the Phillies. Corbin Carroll was in that draft. George Kirby of the Mariners made an All-Star game. Michael Tolia of the Rockies is in that draft. Daniel Espino of the Indians, of the former Indians and then the Guardians. And then Anthony Volpe was the 30th pick in that draft, and he's looking pretty good. Michael Bush, who was drafted by the Dodgers, that's now part of the Cubs, who is on a tear. That's a lot of major league talent in that draft. And AJ probably had a great pick there too with C.J. Abrams in the top 6. But that's one of the years where you had a ton of studs going in the first round.
Yeah, it's fun to look at that, kind of have that perspective and see how many of them make it to the major leagues. And then, take a look through with what A.J. Preller and his staff, his whole front office have done. And respectable indeed, for sure.
Gunnar Henderson was a second-round pick in that draft.
Not bad, Orioles.
No, Orioles kicked ass in those drafts.
Let's take a timeout. When we come back, Padres versus the fastball. How's that going? How has it gone historically with this group of players? Braden's done a lot of research, and I just do want to toss in the L.A. Lakers have fired their head coach, Darvin Ham. That is official. Their official press release has gone out. They have parted ways, they said.
Oh, got it.
With
Always
Darvin
makes
Ham.
me laugh. We have parted ways. No, you fired him.
Just let LeBron coach the team.
Well, no, he'll pick a coach.
He'll pick the next coach, just like he picked this
let him be the
coach.
player coach. It could be like a Disney movie. It'd be great.
Oh, and also player coach GM, and he could draft his son.
You know what? I think we're onto something. I think that brings the Lakers some success.
I think we might play the clip later from the postgame show. Who was it that was talking about this? That it's not. He was saying like the Lakers just suck. This was not on.
Oh
him.
yeah. No, that
Okay.
we got Charles Barkley there.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you. It's Charles Barkley.
Absolutely.
And he's like, stop it. They're just a terrible team. It's not. But there's always got to be someone.
Right.
As we've seen in every sport, there's someone that goes. It's going to be him.
And that's Darvin.
Sacrificial lamb.
More on that in the 12 o'clock Sports Fix. Padres Deep Dive continues after this. Annie and Elsten on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11:25 on the Fan. Welcome back to Annie and Elsten, rolling till 2 o'clock today. Gwen and Chris will check in then with Tony Gwynn Jr. live from Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Sam Levitt, who was just pensively staring into a light in there. And now I'm wondering, is he like recording cameos?
He's doing something. He moved to a different studio.
Maybe
I don't think the
he's a
studio
robot.
was giving him what he needed.
Oh, you think he's plugged in? Like he's actually
charging his battery.
he's borrowing Adam Klug's Android charging port?
That's right.
Got 2 robots here. It's amazing. Let's get into Braden's research.
Yeah.
Because he was talking to us yesterday saying, hey, I've done some look in how the Padres are taking on the fastball, and not just the fastball, but also the meatball, the heater right down the middle in zone 5. If you count 1, 2, if you think of the strike zone as 9 boxes and the top third is 1, 2, 3, and the middle third is 4, 5, 6, the bottom third 7, 8, 9, zone 5. I mean, that's the one that's center, middle.
That is a grooved fastball.
Yeah, it's a beauty.
But
It's a gift.
What I really wanted to talk about, just in the sense of, those are, and we'll get into the fastball numbers in a second. Some of them are very jarring for players that I was really surprised have struggled statistically hitting a fastball, which you're going to hear some of the names on this list, and you're like, are you really? Like, I can't believe that. But, to me, I think, I was talking to some guys in baseball, in different aspects of baseball, that have watched the Padres hit this year, and multiple baseball people that are in the pros, at the college level, throughout baseball, and especially guys that talk about hitting, go, when I watch the Padres, it looks like they're lacking an approach. It doesn't look. It just looks like they're free swingers. It does, and it looks different than the other teams that you see around Major League Baseball. So, and I think a lot of people are kind of like vague on the approach thing, but when you think about an approach, when you're going up to bat, let me ask you guys, what is your initial thought of like what your approach would be at the plate? Like what do you think most baseball players, I don't have the right answer, but just, general terms, what do you think the approach of a baseball player should be in the box?
Swinging strikes.
Yeah, hit a strike, take a ball. Look for a good pitch to hit.
Right, but so that's the most basic version of an approach. But for most teams, especially at the pro level, the approach is, I'm going to swing at pitches that are not just strikes. I'm swinging at pitches that I can do damage on.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So like if I'm coming up to bat, right, and this is a vague way of doing it, but essentially, you got to be thinking of. You ever heard the term like look for your pitch?
Yeah.
What is your pitch? Right. So for everybody, it's something different. Like for Jake Cronenworth, it looks like like the ball that he hit on the grand slam the other day, groove fastball. Low and in. For a left-handed hitter, I'm going to tell you right now, if you get a ball right above my knees as a lefty, I'm going to tag that. That's my favorite pitch, right? Fastball, middle in, fastball a little bit low and in, I could turn on it as a lefty. So when you go up to the plate and you're looking at your approach, divide the plate in half. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for an inside fastball I can turn on, right? So I might get a fastball on the outside part of the plate, but first pitch, do I want to swing at that pitch? No, I don't want to swing at that pitch. Even though it's a strike, I'm not swinging at it because that's not my pitch, right? I could go up there, I could take a pitch. I could spit on it and be like, you know what? Good pitch. I'm going to wait for mine, right? Same thing with like any type of off speed. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm going to take it. So as the count goes on, if I get into a hitter's friendly count, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, unless I'm getting that pitch, that fastball middle in, or that fastball like right above my knee that I'm looking for, I'm not going to swing at it. And to me, it seems like a lot of the Padres, you go watch those guys swing. They're hacking at a lot of stuff, which is great. You want to see them be aggressive at the plate. But to me, it's like there's a lot of pitches I feel like, and even the best guys, I just feel like they're swinging at some pitches at the plate that are, even if they hit them, you're not going to do any type of damage with it. And you got to factor out 2 strikes, right? Like 2 strikes, you're just trying to protect. But most guys go up there with their approach is, I'm looking for my pitch. If it's not there, I'm either going to take it for a strike, which I can hit with 2 strikes, or if it goes outside the plate, a little bit high, a little bit low, kind of work the count. And if I get to a 2-strike deal, maybe I just need to put enough of a barrel on it just to foul it off a little bit, and then I could just wait for that guy to make that mistake. So what is a mistake pitch?
Middle.
Fastball right down the middle. right?
Yeah.
In Major League Baseball, I would imagine, and for you driving around listening, everybody listening, a fastball in the heart of the zone, that's a mistake. That's a ball that needs to be absolutely hammered. So I went through, and again, with the pitches that we're talking about, because I feel like these guys are just swinging at anything that looks close to the zone, and they're just trying to do, I don't know, swing out of their shoes. It doesn't make any sense from an approach standpoint. But let's talk about a fastball right down the middle.
Yeah. What does the league do against that?
The league hammers it for sure. I mean, and most of the Padres hammer it too. I mean, this season, guys like, Jerks of Profar is doing really well, right? Against the fastball down the middle, he's hitting 400. His expected batting average is 463. His BABIP's 308. He's barreling 6.7% of them. His exit velo is okay, at 89.7, but he hammers that. Tatis in his career hammers that pitch. Hitting 380 in his career. This season, he's hitting 400 with an expected batting average of 497. So, as much as people want to say, oh, Tatis is in a slump, he's hammering that pitch. Mm-hmm. But then you start looking at some of the guys you're paying a lot of money to. Like Manny Machado this year, he's very unlucky on this. He's hitting 222 on a fastball right down the middle. That's obviously very, very subpar. Not very good.
Now, like one of those could be the one that Fairchild went over the wall to grab the other day.
Which is probably his exit velo of 101.5 that he has on that pitch.
There you go.
His expected batting average is 368.
Yeah.
Ex-Woba 388. He's still hammering that pitch.
Right.
Xander Bogaerts, this is where it gets a little concerning. Xander Bogaerts against the fastball right down the middle this year is hitting 100, which is insane.
100?
100.
But is that also because he's hitting so poorly? Like it's just
I mean, fastballs right down the middle that he's
Yeah.
swinging at. He has a 100 batting average. His expected batting average is 231.
Okay, so that tells you the story that he's doing no damage on those pitches.
Right. So even with the luck factor, on a couple of times he's not lucky, at his best, he's only hitting 231 against it. Exit velo 92. He's yet to barrel a fastball down the middle, which I find a little concerning. The other one too, this is the one that's really interesting to me, is Jake Cronenworth, statistically, with him and Hassan Kim, the worst fastball hitters on the team. Jake this season, and what did he hit? What did he hit for a grand slam? A 94-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside part of the plate. Including that home run, that grand slam, he's hitting 214 on a fastball right down the middle, which you think is bad. His expected batting average is 452, so he's not getting lucky.
He's not getting lucky at all.
But look at his career numbers.
I mean, he clearly is hitting other pitches.
Well, if
because
his
he's
XBA is 452, he's hitting the
He's
pitch.
hitting the
He's just
fastball.
ripping it into gloves.
Yes.
Career against a fastball right down the middle, Jake Cronenworth is hitting 260, which is
Not enough.
the worst on the team in their careers. Everybody, like collectively, at the current Padres in their careers, like Tyler Wade's hitting 350 against a fastball in his career, right down the middle. Jake Cronenworth in his
Tyler.
career is hitting 260. Ha-Seong Kim not far behind at 292.
Hassan
Fastballs
Kim
right
has
down the
always
middle.
struggled. Like I remember ever since he came over here, he struggled with the fastball. He's gotten better, I think, year after year, but that really, really was difficult for him.
He was hitting like 260 until he hit Ashcraft a couple of times on Monday or was that Wednesday when he hit Ashcraft a couple of times. It raised him up to 333 this year on a fastball right down the middle. But a lot of the players, like Wade's hitting under 300, Machado under 300, Cronenworth under 300, Campusano's only hitting 143 against a fastball down the middle. Does that surprise you? That surprises me. That guy hammers the baseball, but he hasn't been able to have success on that. Bogart's 100. Merrill's yet to get a hit on a fastball down the middle.
I would think that Campy would probably have been hitting low pitches. I don't know. He's holding his hand so high.
I know.
Right now. I'm just wondering if bringing it down, maybe he's hitting a high pitch better just because he's so high up there.
Are you surprised that Jackson Merrill, with the success that he's had and the exit velo he's had, he hasn't yet to get a hit against a fastball down the middle?
Wow.
He's hitting 206 expected batting average.
But he's zero actual batting
But
average.
it's zero actual batting average on a fastball down the middle. He doesn't like the pitch right down the middle. He doesn't like it grooved. I did some further research on this as well with fastballs. Fastballs in the zone, this is the real numbers that really get concerning when you talk about a guy like Jake Cronenworth, especially a player. And I don't want to, I'm not saying Jake Cronenworth, he's playing very, very well. and he hits a lot of other pitches that are very good. So I'm not saying an opinion on this. I'm just giving you the facts. Out of all the Padres currently on the team, Jake Cronenworth has seen the most fastballs in the zone out of any Padre. He's hitting 269 in his career against a fastball in any part of the zone, which is the fourth worst out of any current Padre.
So that's been the strategy. Now, last year it made a lot of sense because he was trying to lift the ball all the time. And so he was taking longer to get to those fastballs because he was cranking himself up to try and launch it out to right field. I feel like this year, I'm going to look at the XBA on that as opposed to the batting average, Annie. I think this year he's doing a much better job of having a flatter swing, getting more line drives as a result, and doing more damage as a result.
Yeah, I mean, great research, Braden. First of all, I asked around on this yesterday. I also looked at some numbers from previous years. So they are hitting worse against the fastball this year than their last 2 years, but they've always been not great against the fastball. They've been a team that is not good against the fastball. Now, the worrisome thing here is typically as a player ages, that continues to regress. So
it's like Nelson
these ones
Cruz
that
and Robbie Cano that we've seen, right?
Right. So like these players that are locked into these really long contracts, it could improve, but history suggests it will typically not improve.
You got to be, if you're a Major League Baseball team that's really good, you got to be able to hit a fastball. I mean, that's just that's basic. That's simple stuff for Major League hitters and in teams, especially nowadays with high velo. Everybody's got a high velo guy.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's why Bob Swartz is just throwing fastballs. He's like, oh, my team can't hit it. I'm going to go up there and huck it. Cronenworth's numbers versus a fastball in the zone in 2024. He's seen that 37% of the time, most by any Padre. He's hitting 197 against any fastball that gets the strike zone. That being said, as Craig said, he is hitting it a lot better. 348 expected batting average. His BABIP, tell me this is good or bad, Craig. I know the answer, but his batting average on balls in play on a fastball is 170.
That's just insane.
I can't believe it. I mean, honestly, with the way that he has been playing this season, I could not believe it. But his batting average on balls in play on a fastball in any part of the strike zone is 170. Campusano's at 179.
When you combine that with his exit velo, again, this is how you can use stats to be smarter and not to get confused. That average, but he's hitting it 95, 98, 100 miles an hour coming out. That you look at the expected batting average and the real average, and they're 200 points apart. It becomes simple.
It's bad luck.
He's unlucky.
He's getting unlucky.
He is incredibly unlucky. And that tracks with what we've heard for weeks. Him and Tatis saying we're getting really unlucky.
The ball is not falling their way.
Correct.
Pun intended.
I mean, if you have a BABIP of one whatever, and you're hitting the ball the way Xander did last month, 60 miles an hour, then it tracks. But if you're hitting the ball on the line, it's supposed to be 300 at least. So
you're supposed to at least get some of those to fall in, right? Or to go out, right?
And we don't have the elaborate shifts anymore where you can be like, oh, he's always getting robbed by the rover in short right field. So that's not even the case anymore.
Talk about unlucky. Fernando Tatis Jr. on any fastballs hitting 216 this season. Not very good. His expected batting average is 339.
Yeah, right.
Guy's tagging the ball.
That's why you know it's going to turn around. That's why you know it's going to change.
Except that it didn't turn. Well, he was lifting a lot, like you said, for Jake Cronenworth, but it didn't really turn around for him last year, and he seemed to just always hit it at a guy.
It turned around for Juan Soto, though. Juan Soto had the same numbers at the beginning of the season. Everyone was like, this guy stinks. This guy sucks. What happened to this guy? I thought he was good. And then you look at his expected batting averages through the roof. Yeah. And it was only a matter of time before he was going to start raking.
That's why Tatis and Cronenworth hugged each other, like you said, after the last game, and said they're coming our way now, because that's the mentality you have to have. You're doing everything that you can do.
The only concerning thing to me is with Cronenworth is statistically in every year. I mean, even last year his fastball numbers weren't very good. His career fastball numbers are not very good. He doesn't hit a fastball very well, at least in his career. And the thing that's concerning about that, as Annie played out, is he's under contract for a long time, and the one thing that you lose as a hitter is the ability to catch up on high-speed fastballs, and that's what you're going to see with a lot of these guys that are throwing insane levels of speed, which I have those numbers when we come back.
I mean, that's so true, though, also in the sense that, like, the velocity just keeps going up. So what are teams doing to improve against the fastball? How much can you make these improvements against the fastball? Those are really good questions.
I have the Padres numbers versus a fastball that's 94 plus that we could talk about when we come back.
All right,
And
let's do
it's
that.
Kind of the same situation for a lot of the same players.
We continue our Padres deep dive, rolling toward the 12 o'clock sports fix at the top of the hour, right here on San Diego's #1 sports station. It's Annie and Elsten on the Fan. 11:46 is the time. Annie and Elsten, our Padres deep dive, getting deep into Padres versus the fastball. Pretty interesting stuff. Braden has come up with some in-depth research. We're trying to put it together in a digestible form for you so you can take it and synthesize the info and not just go, oh, these guys with their stats. I don't know. Blah, blah. So where did we drop off, my friend?
We are so we talked about the fastball. We talked about some players that have just not been able to hit a fastball in their careers. Even though Jake Cronenworth is getting a little unlucky this year, again, statistically, he has not been able to hit a fastball, and neither has Ha-Seong Kim, which I find very interesting, especially with Cronenworth, because he's had really good years, and obviously he's tagging other pitches more so than a fastball. And we even talked about fastball getting grooved right down the middle, which is a very much mistake pitch, in his inability to really hit it for damage compared to the other players on the Padres. And again, Jake Cronenworth's a great player. He's doing some great things. He's obviously hitting the off speed really well, but I found that very fascinating due to his lack of ability to hit a fastball. This season's a lot more unlucky than anything else. But that's just kind of to recap. I did want to get into. I do think there is let me ask you guys this. Do you think there's a difference between hitting a fastball at 92, 93, and anything north of 94?
Yes.
I would think so.
Absolutely. Right? So, those, and I would see, I think in this day and age of base, I don't have the exact numbers on this, but I would have to guess, against the guess, that most fastballs now from pitchers are north of 94. Would we agree with that? I mean, I don't have the data, but I'm assuming. You don't see a lot of dudes like Zach Davies twirling 90, 91 up there. So with the way that everything is trending, you got to be able to hit a fastball more than 94 miles an hour. Here is our list. I have all of the current Padres on the 26-man roster, at least the ones that play the majority of the time, in their careers, so like with other teams, hitting, here's the parameter, a fastball north of 94 miles an hour. 94 miles an hour or above, anywhere in the zone. Who would you say, the top guy doesn't have enough data, who would you say the best fastball hitter on the Padres is in their career?
I would guess Manny.
Me too.
Manny's up there, but number one is Xander. Xander has hit 314 against a fastball north 94 miles an hour or above. His expected batting average, 282. His exit velo, 91.1. I mean, he has just had 347 BABIP and a 349 xWOBA on his stats against a fastball, 94 and above. Next highest, again, not a big sample size, but great to see out of the young kid. Jackson Merrill's hitting 286 against high fastballs, 266 expected batting average, so he's gotten a little bit luckier than most players, followed by Manny Machado at 279. Profar at 275, Fernando at 264. And then you start getting into the, Kyle Higashioka's on this list. He's only hitting 240 against a high fastball. Cronenworth 255. But to me, it's like you look at a guy like Ha-Seong Kim. What would you guess Ha-Seong Kim's batting average is?
Not high.
No, it's not high. It's 211 with an expected batting average of 210.
Oh, really? Right on the same.
On anything 94 miles an hour or above. He has struggled with that in his career. His exit velo's 85.5 on those pitches, and he has only barreled 4.5%.
He never saw anything close to that in Korea. He came over to the States, and it was way faster than anything he was used to.
That was in his career. This season, it's a lot of the same. He's hitting 219. Remember, it's like you were going to give him the adjustment period, right? And he's been here for a couple of years now, and he had a really good year last year.
He's worked on improving it a lot.
Right. He's hitting 219 this year against the fastball, 94 and above, with an expected batting average of 206, which is not very good. Campusano's hitting 160 against it. Fernando's not hitting very well against it either, but again, you would guess his expected batting average is very high. Because it has been. Profar's hit 500 against fastballs, 94 plus. Expected batting average 365. So he's gotten a little bit luckier than most players on the San Diego Padres. Manny Machado, 303 batting average, 330 expected batting average. Xander Bogaerts hitting 231, 229 expected batting average. Not very good in comparison to where he has been at.
He's been out of sync all year. You can just see it.
Yeah.
He's cutting himself off. Balls that he would drive to left center, instead he's flying out to like lightly to right center.
Right.
Just not getting on the ball on time. Like watching him in person a couple of times in the last week, that drilled it into me. And you've reported so much about how hard he's working and how much he's doing, how much he's spending time in the cages and working at it. And so it's in there. And I can't help it as somebody who's working on his golf swing to compare it to when you're working on a swing. There can be the tiniest thing that's screwing you up, and you cut yourself off. You cut off your own power.
Completely. And then the more you try to think about it, as I'm sure you realize in golf, and he knows because he will say, my body knows what to do. But the more you try to kind of figure it out, think about it, tinker, the more you can sometimes just get real caught up in this vicious cycle of really making that adjustment. And what is that adjustment, and does it stick?
Right. And as a result, Braden, you wind up with a guy who now is trying to figure out those things that we're talking about, and you're figuring those out in a batting cage when they're just piping it to you. Yeah. Now you're dealing with a pitcher who's going to try and trick you and fool you and overpower you as well.
Right. It looks like he's trying to make adjustment. Well, he even said he made an adjustment mid-at-bat in that home run he hit. Mm-hmm. I mean, that just tells me the state that he's in right now. He's thinking too much. Mm-hmm. The other thing I would say, so last year, and I don't want this to be the jump on Kim thing, but Hassan Kim last year had his career year, right? How do you think he did against a fastball last year? North of 94.
Well, it was his best of his career, but I don't think it was still that good. Maybe 230, 240?
223.
Okay. Ooh.
Exit velo 88.6, barrel percentage 3.4%. Lowest on the team out of everybody on the San Diego Padres. So that's where, like, when you start thinking about, and I know he's a fan favorite and everything, and he's a great defensive player, are you willing to give a guy that, like, the money that he's expected to get, are you willing to give a guy that much money if he can't hit high velocity for the rest of his career? That's like, those are the decisions that the Padres have to be making. Obviously, it wasn't that big of a factor for Cronenworth, who hasn't been that great of a fastball hitter, but he's still been significantly better than Hassan Kim in that particular sense. And so that's why I sit there and go, like, I don't know if you could give this guy a big contract. And the other reason why, I'm not huge in favor of him batting leadoff in comparison to some other guys, but that is a big problem for Hassan Kim, is not being able to hit anything north of 93.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting and maybe chronic, as we said, problem for the San Diego Padres.
It's been going on for years now.
Well, you hope that young blood comes in and helps change that over time, that you've got a kid like Merrill. Camposano is one of the ones that you're hoping is going to be better, although the numbers say he hasn't been that great so far. And then you think to a Salas and a DeVries and the young guys coming forward, that hopefully that helps cure things. And then you hope for guys like Manny and Xander that they hold on to it as long as they can.
Yeah, exactly. And that, they're smart players. They're guys that put in the work. And obviously there's machines and whatnot at Petco Park and where they are that spit these things out and let players see them. But it's different, like you said, than facing live pitching, So it's going to be something to watch, no doubt about it.
So now you got to watch. They can see, watch their at bats. I'm gonna see if they're swinging at pitches that they could do damage on, if they're just freely swinging at anything that's close to the zone. Because I watched on the game on Wednesday, and there were some balls they hit, but I feel like they're just swinging at a lot of pitches, and I haven't seen. I understand. Fastball out of the hand looks a lot like a slider. It's very difficult to hit, but Manny just cannot not lay off that slider away in the low outside part of the zone. And my question is not that he can't hit it, right? Because it looks like a fastball. Is that something that you could do damage on? And I just don't feel like he can. I don't feel like guys can on that. Watch the approaches tonight. We'll see if they got one.
Facing Slade Ciccone.
I wondered how you say it.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to butcher it at the Sports Fix. But yeah, is it Ciccone? Or
Ciccone is what I heard.
Ciccone.
Yeah.
Let's see what Baseball Reference has to say.
I think he's got Ciccone. Hey, Ciccone. Stop throwing me them fastballs. I want more of the meatball. That's terrible.
What's his first name?
Slade.
How
do you name your
kid
kid
Blaze
Slade?
on the Diamondbacks? They have Blaze and Slade.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely Ciccone.
Slade.
I feel like those are actually very Arizona names. Blaze and Slade.
Staring at that bundle of joy in the nursery, I shall call you Slade.
Ciccone.
And you're going to have a
cool.
6-slider.
Athletic-y name.
I
No?
get- yeah.
It's a good baseball name, Slade
It's a good
Ciccone.
It's a good
name.
baseball.
Good
Yeah.
baseball name.
Hopefully not today. Eat your avocados. Sports Fix is next. It's 12 o'clock. The sun is out. It's Friday. You're either off work or mentally, you're already off work. Let's be honest. And you're here with us.
It's Friday. You got no job.
Ain't got to do. So
Nothing
thank
to
you for
do.
being with us. Your midday hang is here, Annie and Elsten. We're rolling till 2 o'clock, and then we are out of here as well for your sports weekend. Gwen and Chris will take over at 2 p.m. Padres baseball starting with the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show at 5:40. First pitch in the desert, probably the roof on, and inside the big hangar
No
called Chase
bees.
Field. Yeah, hopefully bee free. They're selling 2-for-1 tickets in Arizona to try and get somebody to go out to support the National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks against your San Diego
It's
Padres.
so funny because I was looking at a little blurb I saw on X where the A's the A's are doing well, but they're in their relocation drama saga, and they're offering for $99 you can go to 45 games. Okay, 45 games for $99. It is their summer pass, and you're talking about this 2-for-1 thing today, or these half price tickets, and it's like that is your World Series opponent.
Yeah.
That is having to kind of do that. You expect it from the A's. But yeah, how about that? $99 for 45 games.
Dude. Well, you do have to watch the A's play. That's
You do, but they're doing well. They're
Yeah,
doing
they're
They
okay.
get the best
Doing
bullpen.
fine.
They get the best 1-2 punch out of the bullpen anybody's got in baseball.
Let's not delay any
Yes.
further. It's 12 now. 02. Let's get to the fix. Weekend preview style, all the news, all your local teams, all the national news as well. We started off as we always do with Annie and with baseball.
Da-na-na, da-na-na. Okay, here we go. I was ready for it today.
She was on it.
Major League Baseball is in, quote, advanced talks with the streaming company Roku about hosting Sunday morning broadcasts this
All
season,
right.
according to The Athletic. These are the games that used to be streamed by Peacock. Well, the NBC streaming service walked away from that agreement a few weeks ago. The Athletic wrote that Peacock wanted to renegotiate the fee to pay the league roughly $10 million per season, well below the annual $30 million price it paid for the first 2 years. It decided that was overpaying. It isn't clear how much the Roku service, whatever, will pay the league. If the deal is consummated, we shall see. The Dodgers will activate Walker Buehler from the 15-day injured list on Monday. Manager Dave Roberts said last night after the Dodgers win over the Diamondbacks, he'll take the ball to kick off a series against the Marlins. It'll be Buehler's first Major League appearance since June 10th, 2022. We'll talk more about that, I'm sure, Monday. The Mets are planning to promote pitching prospect Christian Scott, who will likely make his debut on Saturday against the Rays. Scott will be 25 in June. He was a fifth-round selection of the Mets in 2021, but has raised his stock considerably since then. The Arizona Diamondbacks acquired bullpen depth yesterday, trading for Minnesota Twins right-handed reliever Matt Bowman. Bowman. In exchange for cash considerations, Bowman is 32. He's pitched 7 2/3 innings with 6 strikeouts and a 2.35 ERA in 5 games for the Twins this season. Merrill Kelly to the 60-day injured list with a right shoulder strain. By the way, we were talking about the bee person who put out the bee swarm.
Yeah.
His
bee
name's bee guy. His name's Matt Hilton. Well, Topps issued a new trading card of him on Wednesday. In the first 24 hours, nearly 17,000 cards were purchased. People love the bee guy. And finally, the Padres are in Arizona. They will play game 1 of a 3-game set tonight. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Slade Ciccone, thank you, Braden, on the mound for the Diamondbacks. Ciccone has started 6 games over his career, 2 this season. 2.25 ERA over 12 innings pitched. 6:40 first pitch tonight. And then just to quickly get you set for the weekend, tomorrow's game is at 5:10. Michael King versus Brandon Pfaadt. And Sunday, Matt Waldron going against Ryan Nelson, 1:10 first pitch.
Love it.
Baseball scores from yesterday, only 6 games. Sorry, baseball fans. We don't play baseball on Thursdays in Major League Baseball. Marlins got the Rockies 5-4 in 10 innings. Rockies, since playing the Padres, have yet to win a baseball game. They're now 7-24. Marlins improved to a great 9-24. The
Heard
bottom
they
of
had
the barrel.
a closed-door meeting in the Rockies clubhouse after getting swept.
No.
Yeah.
I love. Wow.
And Bud Black did not address the press.
Was
I
Dinger
kind
there?
of like that they're still fighting.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that means
yeah.
that they still have wants, I guess.
You got a lot of young guys that are trying to make a name for themselves. They can't just
Exactly.
like quit, right?
Dinger doesn't
too
travel.
early.
It's part of their career-long road woes.
I think
No Dinger.
Bud Black walked out, and I think Dinger walked in and gave him a piece of his mind. Foghorn Leghorn style.
Stop it.
With the Foghorn Leghorn accent. That's how Dinger actually talks. Nah, say. This performance is embarrassing to Denver.
Back on the rails.
Orioles beat
pretty
the
good.
Yankees
That was really
7-2.
good. It was really good.
Mets over the Cubs 7-6 in 11 innings. Giants beat the Red Sox 3-1. Astros get their 11th win of the year. They win 8-2 over the Guardians. Rangers blank the Nationals 6-0. As for games this weekend series, are you all right? You okay?
We're
I'm just
impressing,
imagining
'cause his
Dick
was good.
Monfort in the Rockies clubhouse being like, buddy, get out of here.
Dinger's here.
We've got someone who needs to talk
That's
to
right.
you. And Dinger walks in just with a baseball bat.
And it's
If you're a player, you're going to listen to that more.
that's right.
You're going to be like, I'm going to listen to what this dinosaur has to
That's
freaking
right.
say.
That's
Charlie
right.
Blackman's
Okay.
like, listen to the dinosaur.
The dinosaur with the Mississippi accent for no reason.
Oh,
nah,
Lord.
say
Bones
nah.
are still under the stadium.
Nah, say.
All right, back to it.
Padres are in Arizona. The Brewers are on the north side of Chicago. That game's even at 0 apiece. They haven't scored yet. Top of the fourth inning from the north side of Chicago. Orioles are in the Queen City against the Reds. Rockies are taking on the Pirates at PNC. Giants are in the city of brotherly love. Mets down in Tampa. Tigers in the Bronx. Red Sox in the Twin Cities. Blue Jays are in our nation's capital. Angels in Cleveland in the Guardian City. Rangers in KC. Mariners down in Houston. White Sox at the Gateway Arch. Marlins in the Bay Area against the A's, and the Atlanta Braves are in the City of Angels to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers this weekend. And that's a look at the MLB scores. Here is Craig Elsten and the NBA.
Let Ramball Rock get in there, and here we go. I do have a highlight for when we get to the first score. Mr. Soprano. The LA Lakers, however, have fired Darvin Ham. That came down just this morning. 2 years on the bench for Darvin Ham. Brought the Lakers to the conference finals last season, to the first round. This season went 90-74 in 2 years on the bench.
I'm with Braden. Just let LeBron coach it. Who is going to come in there now knowing that? I mean, he's obviously going to have to hire the next coach like he hired that one, but
Yeah. And they'll be like, oh, I can coach LeBron and AD. I'll jump at it.
I bet Ham really just kind of let LeBron coach too. Like,
Well,
You
LeBron's
kinda
favorite
got
coach
to.
is coaching the Clippers, Tyronn Lue, so he's kind of out of luck right now.
Okay.
But we'll see who they pick. Yeah, maybe it's JJ Redick. He's been on the podcast. He's done a good job. Nonetheless, Darvin Ham, so long. If you want more on that and you happen to have an athletic subscription, like literally preloaded for the minute the Lakers got eliminated. They dropped a gigantic story which talked about how the players were coaching the team. Darvin Ham wasn't even coming up with the right strategies. They were kind of like fixing his problems as games went along, that he was not making the strategic adjustments needed for the team. So they did a lot to bury Darvin Ham before they then buried Darvin Ham.
it reminds me of another team. Another team that we know locally. Interesting. Okay, all right.
So, via con Dios, Darvin Ham. The Knicks and the Sixers, so far the year's most entertaining playoff series. We will see if that will be topped, but all 6 games were good, and last night was good. In Philadelphia, 111, final 30 seconds. Former Villanova star Josh Hart with the ball. And this is where the highlight goes.
Got it.
Just listen to the song for a second. So good.
Basketball.
And then it comes back.
It's taking forever to load. So dumb.
Basketball. How's it go?
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Here comes Josh Hart.
Here on the catch, or they play him straight up. Batum on him now. He was on him at the end and causing that turnover in game 5.
Get it in. Brunson. Oubre forces him to give it up. Hart hands it to him. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Brunson, drive, swing, Hart. He connects.
Here on the catch, or they play.
Josh Hart, former Villanova star in the city of brotherly love, sends the city of brotherly love out of the playoffs. Knicks hang on. They win it 118-115. They will face Indiana in the second round because the Pacers ended the Milwaukee Bucks season emphatically, blowing out Milwaukee 120-98 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Milwaukee was out of steam and out of their depth. The Indiana bench outscored the Bucks bench 50-10. 50-10. Just took a close game and ran away. T.J. McConnell, the little general off the bench, 20 points, 9 assists in just 23 minutes. Dame Lillard did come back to the lineup for the Bucks. He could literally barely jump. He scored 28 points, led Milwaukee, but they had no chance. They were a dead team walking into the offseason, where the question will be, what about Doc Rivers, who took over in the middle of the year? Does he stick around and they try and have a full training camp, la, la, la? Or do they shake it up again in Milwaukee? Meanwhile, Patrick Beverly of the Bucks threw a basketball at 2 different Pacers fans behind the bench during the fourth quarter. He was asked about it in the locker room and refused to answer the question because the reporter who asked it had not subscribed to his podcast. That is a real and true story.
Are we going to talk about that
We're
now or
gonna
later?
Later.
Okay.
Today, Cavs Magic, Game 6. Cavs could close it out. They're up 3-2. Mavericks Clippers, Game 6. Clippers will play without Kawhi once again. Dallas could close it out, up 3-2. Saturday, the Western Conference semifinals begin. Timberwolves at the Nuggets. That could be one of the very best matchups of the entire playoffs. Sunday is reserved for possible Games 7 in Cavs Magic and Mavs Clippers, but we shall see tonight. From the hard court to the ice of the National Hockey League.
All right, we're going to lead into a highlight here, too. Last night on the ice of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Toronto Maple Leafs kept their season alive with a 2-1 win over Boston on home ice. William Nylander scored both goals for the Maple Leafs, including this breakaway for the eventual game winner.
Still loading.
Still loading.
Hold for highlight. Keep holding.
Technology is going to catch up like the fastball.
Stay on target.
Yeah, it's going fast.
Stay on target.
This is more like a...
Oh, here it comes.
Okay.
Jeez, that's slow.
Puck out for Nyes. And now Nylander, breakaway. Nylander, Deeks, scores! Oh, the Bruins with an opportunity to try and tie it. Frederick had a chance. He missed the net. Eventually, the Leafs are able to get the puck out.
Thanks for standing up. Appreciate it.
It had been a while since
Better
he
angle.
scored his last goal before the first goal of the
Bang.
hockey game.
Bang.
Nice goal.
The Leafs win, sets up Game 7 Saturday in Boston. Toronto has been without the league's best goal scorer, Austin Matthews, and there's no guarantee he will play in Game 7. Ooh. Tonight, 2 playoff games. Vancouver is at Nashville for Game 6, their second chance to close out the Predators. The Dallas Stars have won 3 in a row. They are at the Golden Knights for Game 6, looking to close out Vegas in Vegas. Sunday, the Eastern Conference semifinals will get started with Game 1 between the top-seeded New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes.
Braden, back to you.
All right, we got some high school and college baseball to report on this weekend. USD will play host to Santa Clara in a 3-game series, trying to continue their West Coast Conference winning streak and stay atop the West Coast Conference standings, projected to get a 2 seed as of right now in the NCAA tournament. As for the Aztecs and the Tritons, San Diego State is trying to snap a 9-game losing streak as they will play Fresno State this weekend at Tony Gwynn Stadium. They had already played Fresno State earlier in the season, and they lost, or they went 1-2 against the Bulldogs up in Fresno. So a little bit of revenge potentially for the Aztecs against Fresno State. As for the Tritons, they're trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. They got the first place Gauchos from UC Santa Barbara up in Santa Barbara, California for their weekend play in college baseball. As for CIF San Diego baseball throughout the county yesterday, Santa Fe Christian dominated Bishops 18-7. Valhalla over Mount Miguel 11-1. El Cap beats El Cajon Valley 14-0. LCC beats Del Norte 7-3. RB doubles up Torrey Pines 6-3. Granite Hills scored 23 runs in a victory over Steel Canyon 23-5. San Marcos over Carlsbad 9-8. Mater Dei Catholic over Olympian 4-3. And Eastlake beats Montgomery 8-1, getting down to the nitty-gritty in high school baseball. And that'll do it for me. On to Craig.
All right, let's wrap things up with arena, stadium, and golf news. San Diego Seals. Here we go. The National Lacrosse League semifinal series, the Final Four. It gets underway tonight at home against the curiously named Albany Firewolves. Are they mythical creatures, wolves that breathe fire, or are they just wolves that have been lit on fire? I don't know.
We're going to find out.
They're the Albany Firewolves and the San Diego
I hope
Seals.
they breathe fire.
Well,
I mean, I guess not for the Seals, but...
Yeah. I mean, that would be bad.
Okay, I guess it'd be bad. Yeah, never mind. It'd be entertaining for a second, though.
It's equally bad if they're actually on fire, like just poor wolf. So anyways, it's actually all made up. That's just a team sports name. But it'll be Albany and San Diego tonight. 7:35 is when that face-off will take place. This is game 1 of a best-of-3 series. Game 2 will be Sunday in New York. Game 3 would be back on May 10th. Here in San Diego. San Diego Wave FC plays on the road tonight. They are on the artificial turf of Lumen Field, taking on the Seattle Reign. That game will kick off at 7:05 p.m. There's a watch party in North Park at Fairplay if you're interested in gathering with fellow San Diego Wave FC fans. San Diego Legion hosts the Dallas Jackals Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. at Snapdragon Stadium. It'll be the debut of Australian legend Matt Gitto, who has played in 3 Rugby World Cups for the Wallabies, the Australian national team. He is one of the most famous players in Australian rugby, and he is now, an aging veteran who will hopefully be a big part of San Diego Legion, trying to snap and turn around a 2-match losing streak. FanFest gets started outside at 11 a.m. and at 3 p.m. They will have the kickoff. That is on Sunday afternoon at Snapdragon Stadium. San Diego Strike Force host the Northern Arizona Wranglers Sunday at 3 p.m. in indoor football action at Pechanga Arena. No fights expected in the stands. San Diego Mojo. This is big. If you're a Mojo fan, it's a big, big weekend.
Nice.
They play back-to-back road matches Saturday and Sunday afternoon at Grand Rapids. Both of those games available to be watched on YouTube. Mojo is 2-0 against Grand Rapids this year. Both teams are 1 game under 500. Grand Rapids is in the 3rd position out of 4 playoff teams. San Diego is in the 4th position. So they want to win this weekend. If they do, they're going to move into 3rd place by themselves. And in a Final Four situation, they would avoid the number 1 team, Atlanta, in the first round. So this is about avoiding Atlanta in the first round of the playoffs, which is probably where their road would come to an end.
Oh,
because they are 0-6 against them this year. So let's go Mojo Saturday and Sunday at Grand Rapids. Lastly, San Diego FC's Chrome Ball Tour moves to Chula Vista tomorrow. They're going to close off 3rd Avenue just like they would for a street fair. That is all day long. So check it out if you are so interested. There's your 12 o'clock sports fix for Friday, May 3rd, 2024. Fresh Kit Friday, by the way, going with the current Star Wars Soccer's kit because today's May 3rd. That means tomorrow, Annie, is...
Oh, May 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be
wow.
with you.
Right.
I walked right into that one.
So, seeing as we don't have a show tomorrow, I mean, thank God.
Are you going to wear it tomorrow, too?
Yeah, I've got like 3 or 4 Soccer Star Wars jerseys. So
you can choose.
Right, but I've got to keep them fresh for the show. So I'm not going to, I'll probably wear my Mandalorian one
tomorrow
when I go to the Chrome Ball Tour tomorrow, yeah. Planning
I feel
on going
like
to the
a lot
Seals
of
game
people
today.
will be like, hey, Craig, may the 4th be with you. Like, I feel like you'll get a handful of those at least.
I think, yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure. If I go by the locals tent, probably get a couple of those. Got some Star Wars nerds out there.
Nice.
Hey, should be a great weekend for everyone. Hope everyone, picks something out of this sports calendar and has a great time. Not for nothing, the CJ Cup Byron Nelson at TPC Craig Ranch, which seems like a place I should play. Craig Ranch.
Craig Ranch.
Yeah, in McKinney, Texas. Please invite me. Jake Knapp is at 14 under, one stroke ahead of Troy Merritt in the second round. When we come back, Patrick Beverly is an idiot.
Yes, he is.
That's the short version. We'll expand when we return. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. I'm just imagining that moment again in the nursery when you're looking at your son and you go, well, what do we want him to be? What do we want him to be? It's like,
We want him to slay.
Yeah, I think we want him to have a 1/3 shot at the big leagues, 1/3 shot at becoming a rock and roll singer, and a 1/3 shot at becoming a villain in a future Karate Kid movie.
Or being Goodfellas.
I mean, Slade you're going to remember Slade and you're going to remember
Slade.
Blaze.
Slade.
And when it's like Blaze, whatever, hit a home run.
Blaze and Slade.
Yeah.
He should be on.
The headlines write themselves.
He should be on the. Is that goal? What is the? Was it from Dodgeball? Here's Blaze, Blazer, Blazin, and what was the other guy's name?
If your name is Slade, there's a non-zero chance someone has told you to sweep the leg in your lifetime.
Late 90s, early 2000s, that was, I think, very popular. Of a name.
Slade.
Blaze and Slade.
Gonna name my son Slade.
There's probably some soap opera that had it, and
Blazer, Taser.
All right, let's get to Patrick Beverly. I mentioned it in the Sports Fix. Milwaukee's season came to an end. Patrick Beverly, a few years ago, used to be kind of cute. He's the guard who thinks way too much of his ability to defend. Like somebody who would do the sign to LeBron, "You're too short," stuff like that. Used to think that he was like the specific tormentor of certain stars. I believe he couldn't. Didn't he think he could guard Kobe? I'm trying to remember. Patrick Beverly has thought a lot of himself over the years, and for a while, like I said, it was cute. Like he would sort of contribute to some winning teams and occasionally have some big performances and shut guys down. He's since not been as good a player, and he's bounced hither and yon, and he bounces from team to team. And for a couple of years, he's done what veteran NBA guys are doing more and more. He's got a podcast.
Everyone's got a podcast these days.
Everybody's got a podcast.
So yesterday, Patrick Beverly did two things that both were awful. The first one is actually worse, and let's show that to you because this is him in a basketball game. Now, if you're watching our YouTube, you can see this. This is as Brooke Lopez is taken out of the game at the end, 2.5 minutes to go. Patrick Beverly turns around. He's hearing fans that he doesn't like, and he fires the basketball twice into fans who are sitting behind the bench.
Hard.
Yeah, the first one.
It's a missile.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one he chucks and he misses his target, not surprisingly, because he's Patrick Beverly, and he hits a woman in the side of the head.
Low-hanging fruit.
I know, but still. Hits a lady in the side of the head, and then a fan tosses the ball back to him thinking, I don't know what he's thinking, maybe it's an error or something, and then Beverly chest passes it right back to the fan as hard as he possibly could.
How are you not suspended for this?
He will be.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like,
Their
guaranteed.
season's
I mean,
over
this is
now.
dangerous. Like
That person wasn't even looking.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that
their
first
season's
one,
over.
He missed. He was trying to get probably this dude right here. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he throws it super hard. He's restrained by his teammates. It's a guarantee Adam Silver will suspend him. Now, he's a free agent now. His tenure with Milwaukee ended when this game ended.
Right.
So,
Is that Giannis right there in the?
yeah, that's Giannis in the
is
warm-up.
Giannis is like, what's going on
He's
right
like,
now?
chill out.
Yeah, and according to people who were there, because Patrick Beverly then put this same video on his own Twitter feed and was like, it's not fair. These people were after us all game. We were asking the security for help, and nobody helped. Apparently, what was yelled, now, if you're watching again, watch right here.
Dunk.
That's where he throws it at the lady's head. And the lady's head hits it with a basketball.
That's a younger person.
I mean, whether or not security needed to do a better job there, you can't throw basketballs at people's heads.
It's ridiculous, right? What he said was that the chant of 1, 2, 3 Cancun is what the fans were chanting there.
That's pretty funny.
Because it's always said, Annie, in the NBA that when teams are eliminated,
You're
gotta
going
go
on
to
vacation.
vacation.
they're going to
Got
go to
it.
Cancun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a whole thing. You're going to go to
It's
Cancun.
It's a huge
Okay,
bit that they
if
have.
that was what was setting you off, my man, you've got to get tougher than that.
I thought it'd be worse
You can't
too
let
because
that-
Indiana fans have a bad rap as it is.
They do.
They have
Yeah.
a bad rap, so I'm like, well, they are playing Indiana, but if that's what set them off, I mean, come on, dude.
Come on.
Not to say that that's justified for anything that
Right,
a fan
but-
says, but still.
But that doesn't seem like it should be. I mean, look, granted, bummed their season's over.
Right.
Emotions are high, but still, you can't throw basketballs at people's heads.
You're a paid professional. You're not a child.
But Patrick Beverly's rep on the court is kind of that over-emotional, I think I'm ice cold, but I'm actually running red hot type of player. He's an instigator. He's somebody who gets under people's skin, and so that's a very Draymond thing to do, though, to like take your emotions and let it get out beyond yourself and then get to a moment of incredible unprofessionalism. I would not be surprised if Patrick Beverly was suspended for 15, 20 games.
Yeah, I mean,
for
having
what
that
he
kind of
did.
guy on your team, like a lot of times that can be great, right? Like that's someone who, is always going to, fight for something. He's always going to be in the middle of things. Runs real hot, but then it can be also terrible because that's a guy who will do that sort of thing.
So after the game, in the Bucks locker room, here's Patrick Beverly as reporters gather around him. ESPN reporter Melinda Adams begins to ask him a question, and here's how Patrick Beverly responds.
Here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Before I finish.
Yeah.
You subscribe to my pod?
Do I subscribe to? I do not.
So you can't interview me then. No
Okay,
disrespect.
Well, Jamal is here.
You
so-
subscribe? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Again, there were a couple times within a bucket or two. In previous games, y'all have been able to kind of get over that hump, or maybe.
Like that on my Facebook? Yeah, thanks.
Was it anything they did in particular, or was it just one of those where the bucket didn't go down, there wasn't the stop, they made one? What kind of prevented that you all from being able to get over, kind of like you have in the past?
You'll move that mic, please, or just get out the circle, please, for me, please, ma'am. If you're not subscribed to my pod, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So first asks, do you subscribe to my pod? When she says no, okay, you can't interview me. Some other reporter, who, by the way, should have immediately said, okay, well, I'm not interviewing you now, or stood up for her. Honestly, but I get it. Everyone's got a deadline. Everyone's got a story to file.
Oh, that was my take on it too. My take on it was, look, this can't be, you can't leave this woman on an island. I don't know, maybe there's history. I don't know what's going on in that situation. They do have deadlines. They're just trying to get their, what they need for their story and finish. But someone should have stepped in there, whether that was the PR person, whether that was another reporter, whether that was the guy that was asking the question. Like someone needs to, it really bothers me when that kind of situation happens and it's like, a lot of times it can be men in the same, because there's not a lot of other women around.
Yeah.
So come on, step up in that situation.
Melinda Adams tweeted, I think this is her account. 'cause Mark Medina commented on it, said, I want to thank everyone for their kind words and support. I am humbled. Patrick Beverly just called me and apologized. I appreciate it and accept it. The Bucks also reached out to apologize. I've been in news for over 40 years, and kindness and grace always wins.
Indeed.
Yeah.
ESPN apparently, according to Twitter reporters, they are banning Patrick Beverly from future appearances. Cool, whatever. I also read last night as this was happening, because I dropped this in the rundown last night. I'm like, I can't even believe this exists. I saw Milwaukee reporters saying, oh, he pulled the same S with us when he arrived, and asked if we subscribe to his podcast, and if not, you can't interview me. Unbelievable.
Sometimes that is too, if that's how it goes. Like there's certain players who are a certain way with the media, and you sort of do get a little jaded to it because it's happened to you, it's happened to people that have been in the scrums, it's happened, certain antagonistic things, and you just sort of kind of get used to it, I guess. And maybe they just thought, oh, here he goes with his antics again. And maybe, I don't know if this was our first time. I mean, I saw like Rachel Nichols saying that she's a very respected producer for ESPN. I don't know, maybe it was his first time seeing her, maybe he was just in a bad mood, and he's seen her before and thought he could punk with her. I'm not really sure the backstory there, but I wish, and I know it's so much easier said than done, like I wish she could have been able to stand there and go, no, I'm not leaving, but it would have started something else. Who knows what it would start. But she had every right to be there and to tell him, no, I'm not going to go. I'm going to stick my microphone in your face.
It's one thing. I'll just say this to wrap it up. A lot of folks may have a lot of opinions, but we're blessed to have Bernie Wilson in this town. If Bernie Wilson was in that scrum, it would have ended right there because he would have drawn the line and said straight to Patrick Beverly, what you're doing is ridiculous. And I'm not going to subscribe to your podcast, and you're going to answer the questions anyway. And that's a lot of reporters, and you know this so well too, Annie, they have been told so many times, do not be a part of the story. Report the story, don't be the story. So it's very natural in those situations to have both the herd mentality of we're all in the group, we don't want to get into a fight, and deadline mentality, and I don't want to be the story. Now the story is Melinda Adams with Patrick Beverly. It's not me with Patrick Beverly. I don't need to step in. However, that's where I feel like media has waned over the years and over the decades because it would have stepped in and it would have been understood to step in previous years and generations.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, sometimes with players, you're like, just kind of like, oh, here we go again. Here he is. He's pulling this thing again. And so that's why I don't know, like, if he's done that before, or maybe the other reporters were kind of like rolling their eyes, So I don't know. I don't know the backstory or the context with it, but it wasn't good. It's unprofessional. I get that he's a highly paid basketball superstar or star or whatever, basketball player, but come on, Patrick Beverly. Do you really want that to be viral? You talking like that? You sound silly. Like,
he obviously doesn't care.
He doesn't care, and he's gonna go to vacation. He's gonna enjoy his off season. Doesn't care, but there should be higher standards for the organization because you start letting that stuff slide, and something like what you mentioned is going to happen. It's gonna escalate. That's when you just let those things happen. They'll escalate and escalate.
The other thing though too, it's like. And, we all know this as people in the media. You can't just go, well, screw this guy, I'm just going to walk away. Because that's what he wants. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. This is essentially what it is. He's just finding different ways to deter people from wasting their time talking to him. But if you decide, we're just not going to talk to Patrick Beverly after the games, that's better for him anyway. He doesn't want, that's what he wants. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He just wants to do his podcast. And that's when he'll speak to the general public on his terms. And I think a lot of athletes are getting to that point with the media, and the PR staffs are letting it happen.
Right, exactly. The PR staffs are absolutely letting certain behaviors going. I mean, look, the players call the shots in pretty much a lot of places now.
Let's take a break. When we come back, it's time to play our final silly game of April / the very beginning of May. This is your chance to qualify for the last time for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, 2 tickets to see Kool and the Gang. Today's silly game is Fast Money. It's the bonus round from the Family Feud, very popular, decades-long game show. So we are looking for a contestant now to play Fast Money. 833-288-0973 is our number. 833-288-0973. Give us a call during the break. We will get you set up, and we'll play Fast Money when we come back. Annie and Elsten on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 12:46 is the time. Welcome back. It's Silly Games time on a Friday. What better time to play a silly game than a Friday?
Love it.
Let's get to it. Today, we get fast. Here we go, fast money, and our last chance to qualify somebody for our end of the week now drawing for a 2-night stay at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. 2 tickets to Cool and the Gang in the chat. They were asking, when will the drawing take place? I mean, they haven't told me. Tonight? Saturday?
Maybe you should make yourself available to
Monday?
do the drawing.
Is there a hopper? Do you pull a name out of a hopper?
See if you got to drive somewhere. I'm sure Adam or Michael can let you know.
Yeah. I mean,
should
I've
do it.
seen the little hopper when we were on remote. They've got the little golden cage that rattles around.
We should do it on roundtable days.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how they do it, okay? All right. I don't know how. But nonetheless, Sean J. and everyone else, the drawing is coming up, and that means chances are running out. In fact, this is it. Last chance on the show. Today's Fast Money contestant is Jed in Little Italy. Hi, Jed. Welcome to Annie and Elsten.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're doing great, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jed.
Huge Padres fan, live in Little Italy, loving the new midday hang with you guys, and just ready for a great weekend of Padre baseball.
All right, well, let's see if we can get it off to a great start with a little silly game contest win. This is Fast Money. Very simple, very straightforward. We have polled a recent studio audience of Annie and Elsten and asked for their most popular answer to 5 different questions. You're going to pick your opponent, either Annie or Craig. That person will leave the room. Braden will ask you the 5 questions, and you look for the most popular answer. When you're done, then the host comes back in. They can't repeat any of the answers you use, so you have the opportunity to lock in as many number ones as possible. Then we keep score, and whoever wins, wins. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Who do you want to play, Jed?
Krager, let's go for it.
All
Let's
right.
go for it. All right. I'm out of here.
See ya. All right. Jed, you'll have 1 minute on the clock to answer 5 questions. Try to get the most popular answer every time. And if you are stumped on any, you can say pass. We can get back to it if we have time. What do we got? What's going on with the cameras over there?
Turn it.
All right. I'm going to put myself on solo then. All right, Jed, 1 minute on the clock after I ask you the first question. Name a type of weather.
Sunny.
Name a reason people might dance.
Might dance
Might dance. Name a piece in... or
at a
name-
wedding.
Wedding. Name a famous Disney character.
Mickey Mouse.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Name something people do on vacation.
Eat a lot of food.
Eat. Love it. Speaking of eating, name a fast food restaurant.
Ooh. Let's go McDonald's.
McDonald's. And that'll do it for Jed with 30 seconds to spare.
Okay, we're bringing Craig back in.
Oh, all right.
Jed has made all his picks.
Fix the cameras.
All
Fix the
right.
cameras.
Oh, thank you for fixing the
Yeah,
camera.
you're
I saw it.
welcome.
I saw it turn. Thank you.
All right, 1 minute on the clock.
Ready.
Starts now. Name a type of weather, Craig.
Cloudy.
Clowny. With a chance of what?
Meatballs.
Name a reason why people might dance.
They're at a wedding.
Try again.
They're at the prom.
Okay.
I
Name
don't
a famous Disney character.
know. Ariel,
Okay.
the Little Mermaid.
I know who Ariel is.
Okay.
Name something people do on vacation.
They go camping. I should have said nightclub instead of prom.
Yep.
I mean, that's the fun of it.
Yeah. And the 5th one?
Name a fast food restaurant.
McDonald's. Fine. Chick-fil-A.
All right.
All right. All right. All right. How bad am I going to get killed today?
It's not going to be pretty. I mean, Jed already won. I don't really know if we need to go through the answers. That's a tough outing for Craig. That's a tough ball game for you, buddy. Let's go through it.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see how many runs. Let's see how many runs Craig gives up today on the hill.
Oh, jeez.
Guy's getting lit up.
I don't have any option. I can't go first. You can automatically win with a good round.
It's not like you answered any. He only answered one of his twice. All right. Name a type of weather. Jed said sunny.
It's a good answer.
Sunny is correct. 30 points.
30 points.
On the board.
All right.
Probably going to be Craig's best answer. Cloudy. Correct. 20 points.
20 points.
All
I'm
right.
off to a great start. I'm
Yes,
down 10.
yes.
No
Down
big deal.
10.
Who
No big
cares?
deal. No big deal.
All right.
Name a reason people might dance. Jed said a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. 40 points.
I also said wedding, but then I had to
did.
turn in a different answer.
And you decided to say prom.
Yeah. Zero. Damn it. Nightclub. Should have gone nightclub.
Party, concert, celebration, exercise.
Huh?
With the other answers.
Okay.
All right.
I think prom's a better answer than exercise.
yeah,
Craig.
prom
I would
is-
agree with that.
You dance at prom.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Name a famous Disney character. Jed said Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Oh boy. 35 points.
Okay.
Number one answer for Mickey.
That's good, Mickey.
Craig said Ariel.
Incredibly popular.
Incredibly not popular.
Sometimes
0.
controversial.
Ariel got 0. Mickey Mouse, Cinderella, Donald Duck, Snow White, Winnie the Pooh.
This is an old audience. I didn't know our studio audience was that old.
I don't think a young audience would have put Ariel either. That was not the first thing that came to mind.
It was the first thing that came to my mind. Well, yeah, it was.
Somebody
man.
really loves Ariel. Name something people do on vacation.
It's that red hair. Yeah. Okay.
Jed said eat.
Okay.
10 points for Jed.
Eat.
His worst answer of the group.
Okay. I mean, camping. This is a great
Craig
vacation.
said camping. 0. We were looking for sightseeing, relaxing, swimming, shopping, or eating. Speaking of
Whatever.
eating, name a fast food restaurant. Jed said McDonald's. Obviously, it was going to be number 1. 50 points for Jed. Craig said Chick-fil-A. Apparently not popular with the people that like to go to fast food on
Oh,
Sundays.
wow.
0.
This was a Sunday studio audience?
I guess so. McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, Subway, Taco Bell.
Ever.
That's a lot of zeros on the boards. Got off to a great start, though, Craig, and then kind of loaded the bases, and then it turned into
165 to 20.
a disaster.
Oh, wow.
You guys would have
That's a
lost.
spanking.
You guys would have lost the
Yeah.
deal.
Tyler was saying we should do the cooperative version of this. We've considered that, Tyler. And maybe we'll consider it again. But I think it's fun to get blown out by the... This is the one the contestants can win the easiest.
I agree.
Fast money. You've got an easy chance to win.
Type of weather: sunny, rainy, cloudy, snowy, windy.
Okay.
Wedding, we already went. Or dancing, wedding, party, concert, celebration, exercise, Disney character, Mickey Mouse, Cinderella, Donald Duck, Snow White, Winnie Pooh. Name something people do on vacation: sightseeing, relaxing, swimming, shopping, eating. Name a fast food restaurant: McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, Subway, Taco Bell.
Oh, my line 20-0-0-0. This is like JJ Redick in like 11 minutes. 20 points, no rebounds, no assists, no blocks, no steals.
Man, unfortunately, you're not
Tough
golfing.
scene.
Oh, jeez. Congratulations, Jed. Well done. We did want to get your weekend off to a good start. It's off to a great start now, as your name is in the list, and hopefully you're the one that they pull to head to the Westgate, have a 2-night stay, and tickets to Kool and the Gang. Thanks for playing today, Jed. We appreciate you.
All right.
Okay, then.
Okay, thank
Sounds
you,
good.
Jed.
Well, hang on the line,
He's
please.
like, I just kicked Craig's ass. No need to talk.
Yeah, just
Moving on.
drop the mic and move away.
He's calling into the next Fast Money show somewhere else around the country.
No, now he's in the chat. Jed's in the chat. Says, thank you, guys. Let's go Pods. Jed, don't hang up, man.
Oh, cool.
If Braden doesn't get your info, you're not in. So don't hang up. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, hour number 4 of the show, we'll reset some of the topics. Padres, Arizona, huge series to come. Get you caught up to date on San Diego State doing a little poaching of their own. You know, it's someone reaches into their nest and pulls an egg out. They reach into the nest below them and pull an egg Right back. We'll get to that. Charles Barkley talking about the media coddling players. We've got Media Melanie coming up
Yes.
with Crossing Streams at 1:20.
Love it.
And Ask Us Anything. It's all ahead. Your midday hang, Annie and Elsten, here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Here we go, last hour of the week. Let's make it a fun one. Annie and Elsten here with you, your midday hang. Roll until 2 o'clock on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. with Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Soprenet. Craig Elsten here with you on a Fresh Kit Friday with the sun out, with the Padres getting ready to take on Arizona. Coming up 6:40 right here on the Fan. 5:40, Sam Levitt has the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Sammy walked by as I was outside waiting my turn to get smashed on Fast Money.
Oh.
You got crushed.
I did.
It's all right.
I got bodied.
It's okay.
As Woods would say, but it's fine. And I'm like, well, what are you doing here? He said, I had to record some stuff earlier. And he's like, I don't know if I'm going to go home. And I said, well, you can come in with it. And right away, he's like, I think I'm going to go play pickleball.
Oh, wow. It's like, I'll catch you guys next
like,
time.
well, you could come. You could come on our show. No.
No, we're excited for him to take personal time. He works very hard.
Yes.
Yes.
Ridiculously hard.
Figured it out.
Yeah? Well, who is it? So here's what's going on. Braden found a baseball in here that is autographed.
And authenticated.
Autographed and authenticated, and it's numbered 33, but the autograph itself does not lend toward knowing who the player is. It just looks like a couple of random letters. So you figured out who it is?
I punched in the authentication.
Authentication?
Authentication.
It's Friday.
Code.
You know?
Authentication code.
It sounded like you tried to say authentication and Atentacumpo
Yes,
at the
Giannis,
same time.
the Giannis authentication signing. No, the authentication code came up with Franchy Cordero.
Franchy Cordero, the franchise.
This was authenticated.
Wait, how do you find that out?
Well, every authenticated baseball has a code on it, and then you look at the code and you
That's
type it
cool.
in. You can all scan it. My phone didn't work, but the little code right there, you punch it into Major League Baseball's codes.
That's
For their
cool.
hologram numbers, and it pops up who signed the baseball, when they signed it, and which event it was at. So Franchy Cordero signed this on February 18th, 2019 during the spring training authentication.
All
signing.
right.
Additional information, it's a Rollins baseball. Well, thank you, Major League Baseball.
Now we know.
Now we know. So it's a Franchy Cordero signed ball just sitting in here.
Remember when Franchy Cordero was
I do.
Hit a ball over the
Yes.
moon.
I have a T-shirt. I have a Franchy Cordero
a big
T-shirt.
deal?
It has already been worn on the show, so
Oh,
it's the franchise. It says the franchise with a Y.
I think I remember you wearing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it because it's so funny to
It
me.
is,
It's
and
a
I
great
like
reminder.
that. I like that he has that kind of T-shirt. I like it.
Yeah, it's a
No
reminder.
knock on Franchy.
We all dream on prospects, but that's all they are until they become big league
Yep,
players.
yep.
So
Well,
the franchise included.
I'm glad that thing was tagged. Otherwise, we'd have no idea who it was.
We would never have known. Well, although I think I said to you, Franchi, right, just because it kind of looks like an F.
Well,
The first letter.
I gave you the three.
You did.
I gave you the three names.
That's right.
And that was the one that made the most sense.
Yeah, that made sense.
It didn't look like Reese Kinnear.
No.
Nor Mark Melanson. Franchy Cordero. I'm like, I could buy that. But then I was thinking, he had been on the team in a long time. The
Yeah.
fact that we had one of those. is
However, we
ridiculous.
haven't cleaned this studio in a long time.
Yeah,
So
well, then we probably have more of those in the storage locker over there.
really
Just autograph things that we never gave away.
incredible. Padres and Diamondbacks resetting a couple of the quick topics that we got, all the way back like at 10 a.m. This is Dylan Cease's game tonight. Zach Allen was supposed to pitch for Arizona. They've pushed him out of the weekend entirely. They've brought up a kid who I believe starred in Karate Kid 6 as the villain, Slade Ciccone, maybe Ciccone, depending on how the announcers go with it.
In Italian, we would call it
Ciccone.
Ciccone, but which is different than Ciccone. Ciccone. It's
Ciccone.
Ciccone.
Thank
But
you. Thank you.
the pronunciation guide on the Diamondbacks website says Ciccone. So I don't know if he changed its pronunciation, but that's what the Diamondbacks
24,
said.
made his debut last year.
He's a good pitcher.
Out of
Throws a
Miami.
mid-90s fastball, mid-80s slider, low 80s changeup, and a seldom used curveball. Thank you, Jeff Sanders. So, his only appearance against the Padres is throwing 1 2/3 shutout innings in relief.
Well, kicked our ass.
But a lot different going
Uh-oh.
through the lineup. Although I don't know how they're going to play it tonight, if they're going to use them for maybe 3 innings and
Padres
move
are
on? Or
Padres are screwed. Look at the track record. Shut up.
Right. I know.
Shut up.
but-
1 2/3. It's over.
But
Pack it up. We'll see you tomorrow.
Slade's day. It's just Slade's
Slade's
day.
gonna slay.
I am not going to go down that dark road.
No, that was just
I am not going to follow you into that dark alley.
it's Friday.
It is. The Padres have won 2 in a row, and I'm going to stay on this train until it bucks me. Their pitching will take them as far as it goes. Darvish was good. The Padres won. Musgrove was good. The Padres won. And I think Dylan Cease can be good tonight. He's going to face a lineup that is not clicking on all cylinders in Arizona. He is facing a lineup that is set with 5 right-handers locked into it every day. So that plays well for his fastball slider combination. He's coming off his worst start as a Padre. I kind of like that from a bounce back standpoint, that he wasn't satisfied with how he faced the Phillies and he wants to have a better performance. Arizona is such a depressed baseball market. And listen, this is something, I'm not just bringing this up to kind of ding the Diamondbacks. It wasn't that long ago in San Diego that we put all of our promotions on Saturday nights. That's what struggling teams do.
Yeah. And that tickets were not the cost that they are now. You could pretty easily go to a game. You could pop in and get some tickets the day of or a few hours before for a decent price. And
sit in a row by yourself, spread out.
right, and
Yeah.
then
Put your legs up.
buy a ticket in the nosebleeds, and then by the 3rd inning, you're sitting down in the first concourse level, because there's no one there. No one's going to stop you.
They used to have the 5 for 5 deal at the concessions.
Yeah.
Oh, so great.
I used to always remember looking at the Padres schedule and every promotion was a Friday or a Saturday night, and then looking at the Dodgers schedule and every promotion was a Monday or a Tuesday night and going, how is it that they always give away a bobblehead on a Monday? Well, it's because now look at the Padres schedule and every big giveaway is on a Monday or a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Because that's the level of saturation you have now that you don't need to put a big giveaway on a Friday or a Saturday. You're going to sell out those games anyhow. It's the Monday, Tuesday games that you're looking to take from 85% to 100% attendance with the big giveaways. So by contrast, the Diamondbacks are giving away a Saturday bobblehead for their starting catcher, and they're offering 2-for-1 tickets for all 3 games of the series. So like Padres fans, jump on a Southwest flight. Like get on out there.
Yeah.
Bring a friend. Friend's going to play for free. So, it's worth it to get out there and try and pack Chase Field to, load
5.5
up Bank
hour
One.
drive.
Honestly,
Date
makes it even
shake.
more impressive that they got in the World Series. I mean, they played in front of 8,000 people most
I know.
most of the season.
That's like the Rays, though, every year.
Yeah,
the Rays,
that's true.
they've been good for years now, and
You just
nobody
weather
knows.
it,
Yeah.
right?
You know what? Trop. Aside from the Rays out there in center field, not much to it.
Yeah.
The Costco that the Diamondbacks play at, not much to it.
And
Gotta
then you
get people
have
to go.
2-10 record at home for the Padres in front, and they're not trying to do that. Of course, the Padres are not trying to do that, but it's just funny the irony of baseball sometimes because you would think, that the home field advantage almost. I know it's obviously not as big in baseball as it could be in other sports, but still, definitely made a difference during the postseason for the Padres. I believe that.
I'd like to add too, by the way, as much as it was great to go down, remember when we could sit away from people and you could get the 5 for 5? I'd still rather sit in a ballpark that's packed for a team that's winning than collecting my 5 items for $5 at the concession stand, watching a team get shelled by the Reds on a Wednesday afternoon and watching Johnny Cueto try to swing a bat.
Wolfpack asks, is that buy one, get one free for any seat? I don't know. Go to the D-backs Twitter. They've got a link, and you can find out for yourself. You can give them a buzz. You can go to their website and buy your 2-for-1 tickets.
Yeah, usually a good contingent of Padres fans go to these games from when I've gone in the past. Fernando Tatis Jr. made his 2023 debut
That's right.
in Arizona last year, and there was a great crowd of Padres fans for that.
I remember that.
They're taking over Coors Field too, which is nice.
So
Yeah.
it's a
We
weird
travel now.
city. Phoenix is a weird sports city. They're in all 4. Well, they were
Now they lost.
so long Coyotes.
They're a big
Coyotes.
Suns town, though.
Ooh.
That's what I was just going
They
to bring
love
up.
the Suns.
I was just going to say, Well, this cat's out of the bag because I was going to
Sorry.
ask you, like, if you
Gotcha.
were going to just say, right, you look at Denver and you go, Denver is a Broncos town, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have the other teams, and you really invest. Like, they're a Suns team.
Yeah.
They're a Suns town.
They're a Suns
Yeah.
town. That's it. Phoenix is a Suns town, and
Yeah.
the Suns have won exactly 0 championships in franchise history. So kind of interesting in that sense. I mean, they made the finals a couple of years ago when they lost to Giannis, but they've never won a championship. But nonetheless, they are a Suns town, probably Cardinals second, and Diamondbacks a distant third. And it's wild because the Cardinals have never won squat either. Of course, came close against Pittsburgh a few years back in the Super Bowl. But the teams that have performed the best for them, because the Coyotes were awful for a while, but before that they were good. And the Diamondbacks have won the World Series and gone to the World Series since 1998, since the last time we ever went. And crazily, no one cares about the Diamondbacks in Phoenix.
Yeah, that's also like a very much a. It's also a transplant place too.
transplant.
There's
They've
a lot of
also-
people from Chicago that live there.
They've got like vortexes and aliens. They got a lot of
That's
like,
that's
you know
in
how,
northern
like,
Arizona. That's where
Oh,
Sedona
okay.
is. All their
Because you know, like
vortexes
San Diego
and
has stuff to do. So do they.
They do. From the people I know that live out there, it's Suns #1 all the time because that was their first team?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so that was their first team. So they're all about that. The Diamondbacks are okay. They have very much this love-hate relationship with the Cardinals because it's the NFL, so it's great to have the NFL. But at the same time, like everybody knows that the organization is, and I get this from some of my media friends out there, the quote worst-run organization in all of sports. They said with the Arizona Cardinals, and a lot of their fans are kind of like feeling the same. Like they make just dumb decisions, so they're like, even though I don't really support them anymore because of that. But when we played out that clip, remember when Craig brought up that clip of them kind of threatening to leave? I was sitting there going like, in the process, they know it's not sustainable out there. They don't want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I give them credit for. Look, I'm a little jealous. Like they've got.
They got every major sports
We've got
team.
every major sports team. They had hockey. Hockey's gone.
did.
But and you got to wonder, like Braden just said, if they're going to lose other teams. But you know, they've done pretty well in terms of having a sports city, sports town, sports state.
Yeah, we'll see if they get another hockey team because that was part of the process, right? The guy that sold the team because he's trying to build his own arena to get another team back.
Correct. They want to get an expansion team back.
Right.
And keep the Coyotes' name and all of that. And look, they've only been trying to get a new stadium deal for a new arena for hockey there for, at a bare minimum 10 years.
Yeah, we heard.
Yeah. Because, I told you the story
Well,
about
no,
Ari
I mean, it
Siegel
was
trying to do
great.
it in 2016.
Right, a great reflection of how long it's been happening there, or trying to happen.
Who's the last city to fund a stadium?
Last city
Texas,
to fund a
maybe like
stadium.
with the Rangers ballpark, because a lot of these stadiums that are getting built right now are not getting funded by citizens, which is great, and they're mostly getting paid for by big time owners. Because I mean, Kansas City got denied on their. I guess Buffalo got theirs, right?
It
The
was
Bills?
or was it Vegas with the Raiders?
I don't know if like is the city paying for that or is like the casinos paying for that.
Oh,
2022, New York officials approved a record $850 million subsidy for the Buffalo Bills.
Right,
Oh.
the Bills, which somewhat makes sense because that's the only thing they got.
I was gonna say
In
that
Buffalo,
place is head over heels. They will pay for that.
And then Nashville,
the
actually,
Bills.
the April following, the Titans got $1.2 billion in state and local funding from Nashville.
Wait, what year?
that was a couple years ago.
2023.
Oh,
That
wow.
Nashville makes sense too. It's the same thing with like Texas, where it's so cheap to live there with taxes and everything that what's an extra in the grand scheme of things, you're paying like you're paying like extra cents on certain purchases in order for you to build that stadium, even though the whole concept of having citizens pay for a billionaire's new stadium is kind of dumb. But if you're not getting taxed all over the place, you can be like, well, you know what? I don't mind a couple extra, 20 cents here and there, to keep my sports team. And that's why a lot of those places can turn those things around. I just find it, I think we're trending in the direction where a lot of these leagues are going to start losing the leverage of moving places because there's not going to be a lot of places to move to. Because even Vegas now with the A's are like, maybe we don't want you here.
Yeah.
After they got their other sports teams and they're realizing it's like, we don't need to be paying all this money for you guys to build your own stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's the quality of city that's willing to pony up is changing, right? I mean, hence Sacramento stepping up to be like, we'll take you, little A's.
Right.
It's not.
Those desperate cities are still going to be there, but are those sustainable cities to make the money that you're thinking you're going to make, right?
Correct.
Like Vegas is different. You're going to make a ton of money in Vegas, and they already have their teams now, so they're like, what are we doing here? But teams like cities like Buffalo, Nashville, I mean, these are cities that don't have, a lot. Well, Nashville does now, but still, like you're saying.
And Vegas they voted for $350 million to go toward that stadium, which I think though is still in the drama of teachers unions that are very prominent there that are saying we don't want that money to go to this stadium, and I think that that's still an ongoing battle. And then they are trying to find funding north of $500 million. The A's are to build their stadium, so they're trying to just get investments to pay for that.
Did it see how much the state paid for the Vegas one?
Was it 350?
I thought 350.
Oh, is that what you said? So that's not for the A's. I mean, 350. What was it? It was a $1.9 billion stadium, and they only paid like 350 of it. So it's not like they're funding. It keeps going down for the citizens to pay, which is great. I mean, I'm glad. Was San Diego the first to be like, you know what? We're not doing this anymore? Or are we the second to do that?
I don't know.
I feel like we were probably the most, like the
we
first.
weren't the first, but we were in there.
That we're just like, we're just going to refuse to do this. Who was it before us? I mean,
I'd
some
have
of
to
these organizations just moved like in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Without
The
stadium
Colts.
things, they just wanted to be in a new town.
I mean, St. Louis. I'm literally spitballing
Like
off the top of
moving
my
in the
head.
middle of the night back when they did that. Was that the Colts?
Baltimore, yeah.
Baltimore.
Baltimore
And
did
that
that.
was pre-social media or anything.
Yeah.
Oh
Can
my
you
God.
imagine? Because now you couldn't do it. Someone would see you packing everything up or all the trucks driving away. I don't know. But just think they did that, no social media. That was when you would wait for your paper or the news to come in the paper. And all of a sudden it was like they left in the middle of the night.
Packed up the trucks and went. Show up the next day at the Baltimore Colts office, and there's nothing there.
But you're so right though. The cities, the desirable cities are not. They're not paying for it anymore, except for the ones that are super desperate, like a Salt Lake City,
Right.
a Sacramento. I'm sure if San Antonio, well, not really San Antonio because they already have the Spurs, but like Austin, I'm sure Austin would think about it. Because they don't have any other teams or something some
Other
of those
than
cities,
MLS,
some of those cities that are just so desperate for one of the major four. But even then, I mean, you're gonna start running into places that are desperate. You're like, I don't know if I'm making money in this town.
Let's take a break. When we come back, it's time for our weekly Crossing Streams segment. This is a chance on a Friday to give you a couple of streaming television recommendations to take into the weekend, because it is a great sports weekend, but maybe you want to watch something else too. So we'll have Media Melanie along.
Woohoo!
She will have a recommendation for you. She and I will chat without spoilers about the show that we've been watching, and I will have a recommendation for you as well.
Wonderful.
All coming up. Ask Us Anything to wrap up the show. 2 o'clock, Gwen and Chris. That's your schedule. Stay right here. It's Annie and Elsten on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 124 on the Fan. Welcome back, Annie and Elsten. Easing the ship into harbor here, getting ready. Last now 35 minutes of the show. Not that we are counting. We aren't.
Somebody is.
Well, just, got to keep an
You
eye
just
on
have
the
to keep
clock.
an eye, right?
That's right. Clock. It's called clock integrity.
Right.
That's what our boss told us, and
We're gonna stick
that's
to
what we're
it.
doing. That's why we're keeping track.
Correct.
Not because it's a Friday.
Right now, because it's a Friday and because it's the final hour of the show, it's time for Crossing Streams. Always love to have Media Melanie on. Again, this is an extension of the segment that I used to do for Ben and Woods on Friday mornings that, in a weird kind of circuitous way, helped form the path to this show. So we honor that history by continuing the segment on Fridays, and Media Melanie has become our ever so able partner in that endeavor. Welcome back to the show once again, Melanie. How are you today?
Hey guys, I'm well. Happy it's Friday, gorgeous day today, and lots of good TV going on right now.
Yes, happy Friday.
All right, let's get into it, Media Melanie. I've got no idea what you're recommending this week, but I'm curious to find out.
All right. Well, today's pick is actually a little bit of a departure from my typical dark, brooding watches that I like to share. I went with something on the comedic and nostalgic side. Season 3 of Acapulco on Apple TV Plus just dropped on May 1st. And Acapulco is a bilingual resort dramedy. So think The White Lotus, but with more cheese, less murder, and a whole lot of lighthearted humor. The plot centers on a wealthy business owner, Maximo, and he's telling the story of his life to his younger nephew. Most of the story takes place in flashbacks around 1984 at Acapulco's hottest resort called Las Colinas. There are lots of 80s vibes in here, and it is just phenomenal the way the visuals and all the nostalgia mixes into things. But the main character, Maximo, he's from the resort town, and as a younger person, works alongside one of his best friends, Mimo, and a diverse hotel staff. There's lots of workplace shenanigans, relationships are front and center, along with some heartfelt storytelling and, of course, drama. I do think there's maybe a little bit of overacting, but with the type of comedy it is, it's pretty endearing. There's somewhat complex characters, so I do think that it works. Each season so far has 10 episodes, and they're only 30 minutes long, so it's really a breeze to watch, makes for decent background TV as well. I find myself actually laughing out loud a lot, which is not something that happens for me with a lot of TV shows. My husband also loves the show. And it is a Spanish-English comedy, so there are subtitles, not an overwhelming amount, so it's easy to follow. It definitely embraces that bilingual vibe, which adds kind of a nice authenticity and perspective to the show's setting. My favorite part, though, there is this 80s cover band who plays by the resort pool. They are so over the top, entertaining, and hilarious. And like one of the brightest spots in the show, if you watch it, you will know exactly what I mean. They are just the best. So 2 episodes of Acapulco Season 3 are available right now, and the remaining 8 will be dropping Wednesdays on Apple TV+. So I hope that if you watch it, you find it as funny as I do.
That's awesome. I've seen ads, and that's just one of those shows that, I've seen a trailer, I've seen an ad, and I've just never even kind of put together the idea, well, I guess I should watch this now. So usually, I think I'm like a lot of people. You might see a trailer, you might see an ad, but what you really need is somebody to recommend the show to you.
She sold it well.
Yeah, and that's when you say, okay, all right, maybe I'll give that a click. So Acapulco, Apple TV Plus, Media Melanie's pick. We joked a couple of episodes ago in terms of our episodes of Crossing Streams about do we ever actually watch these shows that we recommend to one another? And one of the shows that you recommended about 3 weeks ago, I believe, was Sugar, which is also on Apple TV Plus, and last night dropped its 6th episode out of 8. This is starring Colin Farrell in what originally is kind of a breezy film noir-esque, heavy on the voiceover, like you have with the tortured hero Blade Runner type voiceover. but a very stylish show that it had a Hollywood murder mystery aspect to it. But we knew that there was a twist coming, and we're not going to spoil it for anyone who's watched, but the twist dropped last night. So, Media Melanie, how do you feel today about Sugar after seeing the twist?
Wow. So we had kind of messaged each other a little bit this week about it and had our different theories. And I will say, Craig, that you came very close to nailing what it was. And I was quite surprised because it really was such a left turn from the overall scope of the show so far. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. And I'm highly interested to see how they end up wrapping this up in another 2 episodes or, continuing to give us more background on this twist, which again was definitely not what I was expecting. So what was your take on it?
Well, first was nailed it because as Melanie said, I sent her 3 theories last weekend because I really enjoyed the show. And the episodes are usually like 35 minutes long. It's not a tortured, super long watch. So I kind of breezed through them. I caught up in a hurry because they've been dropping on Fridays. I caught up and then I was like, okay, I know the twist is episode 6 because I had read Alan Sepinwall's Rolling Stone review, which said like there's this giant twist. And I don't know if it should have been there, like that. So I sent her 3 theories, and on one of them I said this is where I would place my betting chip if I had to bet, and that's what it wound up being.
Oh,
that's what it wound up being.
Yeah. You really did nail it, Craig, and that would not have been my first suspected twist idea. So really credit to you for kind of seeing the direction it was going. So props, because that was kind of unexpected a little bit.
Me patting myself on the back right now and giving myself a little pat right there.
Yes.
I still think it's worth watching.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I check back with Melanie and I in 2 weeks. I think in 2 weeks we'll give you the out of 8 episodes. What did we really think?
See what the fallout is from the twist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Major. Yeah. He's not who he seems to be. That's just the best way you can put it. He's not who he seems to be.
Yeah, we can leave it at that. But let's definitely revisit this in a couple weeks because I have a feeling we're going to have strong feelings one way or the other.
I agree with you.
And then people may have watched it.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So, catch up. If you'd like to catch up on Sugar, you can have Sugar and Acapulco. That can be a little 1-2 for you right there. A little sugar and a little margarita along the way. Okay. Big credit to Anthony, who's been in the chat the last several weeks, because like water on rock, he's been dripping in a recommendation. And then I started watching it, and I told you last week that I had started it, and now I'm here to recommend Scavenger's Reign, which is a 12-episode animated series on Max. This is for adults. This is not a child's show. And Scavenger's Reign is, first and foremost, it's beautiful. It is gorgeously drawn, and it is evocative, telling the story of a starship that encountered trouble and people had to evacuate. Basically, jumped in the escape pods and shot down to the surface of an unknown planet where they've now lived for a significant period of time. So they've learned to somewhat adjust to this beautiful, lush landscape of completely foreign things, foreign creatures that you've never met, literal alien creatures, animals, flora, fauna, and they... The basic premise of this is that you follow like 3 different groups, right? Because like these pods just dropped, right? They fell from the sky, and so they didn't all land in the same place. So you've got 2 people over here, one of whom was the captain of the ship, and the other one was like kind of the chief scientist. And then over here, you've got another person with her robot. And then over here, you've got another person who was kind of an engineer. And the ship comes down to the surface of the planet, and these people are going to try and find their way there. So that's the basic, like the real basic thread of it. But it's beautiful. It's interesting. It's a little bit different. It's unique, independent sci-fi. So that I really appreciate that because it's not just, here's something that someone wrote in a Star Wars book. 30 years ago, or, Star Trek, Star Wars, like all of this stuff that's been adapted from a previous novel. This is a unique creation. It was based off of a short film in 2016 by the same creators who then moved on to this. So very good, very entertaining. If you like sci-fi at all, I think you will love this. And even if you're a little iffy on it, I'd say give it a shot. As long as being an animated show isn't a barrier to entry, like Woods won't even watch anything that's drawn, which is crazy. He's got 2 kids, 6 and 3. Like you'd think they'd all love animated shows.
I bet he'd watch it if his kids could watch it. Or no? Okay.
No, Woods wouldn't.
Maybe it just gives him like too much trauma because you're watching cartoons all day with your kids, or
I guess.
I don't know.
Okay. No, he won't watch anything
I'm not
animated.
an animated person either, you guys. I don't love the animated series. I don't know what it is. They're just not for me, so I get that.
See, there you go.
It's not for
There you go.
everyone.
Not for everyone. Definitely for me. And I think it's beautifully drawn. I really do. I think it's something that's like they've come up with all these different like cool little creatures, things that are just in the background almost. That you're like, ooh, that's really neat. So I liked it, and appreciate it. See some folks in the chat that have liked it as well. Melanie, thank you so much. As always, it's great to have you on the show. Tell everyone where they can follow you.
Thanks, guys. You can follow me at Media Melanie on all the different socials, and I look forward to coming back next week with another recommendation. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Always appreciate you on the show. Great way to get into the Friday mind space a little bit. Thanks so much. Media Melanie. Acapulco
Thanks, Melanie.
and Scavenger's Reign, your 2 recommendations this week.
I just quickly Googled Acapulco, and yeah, like the colors of it are super like 80s and fluorescent-y, and that's fun.
Good times. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, it's time to wrap up the week with Ask Us Anything. This is our end of the show catch-all call-in segment. 833-288-0973 is our phone number. I'm going to give you a solid 15 minutes to call the show. You got between now and 1:50, 14 minutes, whatever, to call the program, 833-288-0973. If you dial us up, we'll put you on hold, may get some light screening from Braden, and then we'll bring you on the air, and we'll hear what you have to say. We only have one guideline. It's very straightforward. If you do call the program and we bring you on the air, ask us a question. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be about sports. It really doesn't. It can be whatever's on your mind. There's some that seem to be popular repeat questions. We're happy to repeat our answers. It's cool. But just ask us a question. Don't come on with a 2-minute screed about bunting or what you think about Nike's uniform pants or anything else, because the segment's called Ask Us.
Anything.
Anything.
They could ask us what they think about Nike uniform pants, then we could ask them back.
True. Okay. Yeah, there's ways around it.
Sure.
There's ways around it. 833-288-0973. Just call the show. That's all we're saying. Call the show now. Annie and Elsten, we wrap things up next on The Fan. It's that time. It's that time indeed. 1:43 is that time. Annie and Elsten is that show. And Ask Us Anything is this segment. 833-288-0973 is our telephone number if you'd like to give us a buzz. We've gotten some interesting questions in the chat as well, and we'll get to those. But if you do want to call the show, 833-288-0973, you now have 7 minutes to call the show. 7 minutes. And if you do, we'll take you. We'll start things off with Dexter in Spring Valley. Hello, Dexter. Ask us anything.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
So, Annie and Elsten and Braden, do you know what tomorrow is?
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th.
Yeah. Besides being Star Wars Day, it's also the global annual Free Comic Book Day.
Oh, free comic book
So
day.
it's a family-friendly event at your local comic book stores. They have designated comics for free that they'll be giving away. So you can go ahead and Google Free Comic Book Day, and it's all day tomorrow.
Free comic book day.
A good
Wow.
PSA.
That's great,
Great
for
for
everyone.
people,
with kids.
yes.
Yes.
Yep, and like I said, it's family-friendly.
I bet you my wife knows that, and I didn't.
She's
That is
already
tremendous.
planning to go without you.
How shall we bend this into a question, Dexter?
Well, no, that's what. No, the question was, I
I'm
asked
okay
if
with
you
Dexter
knew what
just letting
tomorrow
us know
was.
this.
Oh, yeah, there
Okay.
you go. That was the question.
You did. You asked us what tomorrow
You
is.
did it, Dexter.
Yes.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
So-
My question was going to be to the group. Annie, have you ever collected a comic book in your life?
Back in the day, I believe I did have quite a few comic books, like Veronica, Archie. I vaguely
Yeah.
remember
Sure.
something about that or
Archie
something.
and Veronica, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know that I've done a whole lot since.
Braden,
I've never read a comic book in my life.
I knew that before I even asked the question.
Uh-huh.
I do like a lot of the comic book characters, like when they're in the movies, but I've never read a comic.
And I had boxes of comics growing up, started by collecting X-Men and the Avengers.
Cool.
Those
Do
were
you
the
still
two.
know where they are? Can you give them to your son?
They are mostly in the back room of my parents' house because I gave them to my brother
Oh, cool.
when I went to college, and then he kept them, and I think they're mostly still there. I don't know if they're all still there. We did have a fire at our house at one point that I think destroyed some back in 1995.
That's awful.
Yeah, but some at least some are still there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So there you go. Thank you, Dexter. Let's start. Let's go next to Benjamin. You're on with Annie and Elsten. Ask us anything. How are you?
I'm doing good, and you?
Doing well, thank you.
All right, so I just wanted to ask you guys, are you guys aware of Mike Schilt's 17-game winning streak with the Cardinals? 'Cause you guys never talk about it.
Well, I mean, when we get...
we did talk about it now, okay? But more so before the season started, when we were first starting as a show, we were talking about Mike Schilt quite a bit, and I heard him mention it again on Ben and Woods today. Thank you very much. Yes. But no, it was very, very impressive. Mike Schilt, when you talk to him in conversation, will bring it up. We even brought it up last year when the Padres were still kind of hanging on for the playoffs, and he was referencing that great run that they had.
You know why it's brought up, Ben, is because it almost never happens.
And you know, Mike Schilt said last year that
I don't know. This guy, he's like, he believes in everybody. I think we're going to do it this year, maybe even more, hopefully.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right, well, you guys have a good one. Thank you.
You too, buddy.
Great.
Thanks
I love
for calling
it.
the show.
Good memory.
Yeah, I mean, just because he managed a 17-game winning streak before doesn't mean every team he manages will win 17 in a row.
No, it's
He's just got that in his arsenal. He's just waiting to play his card. He's like, all right, time to win 18 straight.
Time
now.
to go on 18 straight. Right. He mentioned last year that it was different than what the Padres were going through because with the Cardinals, they had already gone on like extended winning phases.
Yeah.
To start during that season, then they hit a bad slump, and then they were able to rattle them off. So a little bit different, but you know, whatever. You turn into a believer.
Yeah.
When you do that sort of thing. It's
You
the
do.
improbable.
And belief is the key. But you know what else is the key to a winning streak? Pitching. You got to have good pitching every single
yes,
game.
you do. They got to hold it down.
And your Schulte mentioned it. Your bullpen too. Like your closer can't close every game, so
No.
like your backup closer has to save 2 or 3 games in there.
Absolutely. You can't run him out there night after night after night. That's a great point.
It's your
you know,
boy,
he doesn't have a bionic arm. You know what is also a key?
What's that?
outscoring the opponent.
Every single time. It's a requirement.
Is it? Oh, it is. Yeah. I'm just kidding, everyone. Someone out there is going to have tuned in and be like, what a dummy this chick is. Okay. I'm being facetious in case anyone wonders.
It's all good. M's in the chat says, Craig, Annie, and Braden, I haven't mentioned it, but I went to the game on Tuesday, and the guy sitting in front of me was eating a whole dang avocado. Wednesday, I ate avocados. The stitious is stitiousing.
Impressive, M's. Good reporting, good on-site reporting. Boots on the ground. I like it.
Boots on the ground.
I have asked for guacamole to be brought home from the Grandparents' Day family lunch at Marietta's, and I'm hoping, if not, I'm going to have to go forage for avocado before 6:40 today. Everybody eat their avocado.
Just don't throw Mitzi under the bus if she doesn't bring
Right.
No, I mean, it's
right.
You can't have that in your back pocket. Like, well, my
Mitzi
wife.
catching
So that's
strays.
No.
Hey.
If she doesn't, I'll go get it.
We can't have these built-in
Take care of it.
excuses. We got to make sure you
We're
get your
not,
avocado.
no excuses. As long as you're not allergic, we all got to eat avocado between now and 6:40.
What if you buy an avocado in the store and you get home and you open it up and it's like kind of brown and stringy? Do you
You
still
know what we
eat
call
it?
that, Annie? That's called a tough ball game. You're on the hill. You got to finish that out. We're trying to win a ball game
All
here.
right.
You're helping out the ball club. I mean, you might have loaded the bases, but you got to find your way out of it. Nobody's warming up in the pen.
From Braden's mouth to your
That
ears
is a tough
and your
ball game right
avocado
there. I tell you what.
Eating.
Just like Craig playing Fast Money today. He had to wear it.
I had to wear it.
He had to wear it.
Mikey on Twitter has a question for Ask Us Anything. With Lamont Butler transferring to Kentucky, can SDSU basketball become a destination for other players in the transfer portal with their national visibility the last few years? Braden, I'm going to answer this saying that money talks and players walk. So
Yeah, what's the checkbook look like, Mikey? I mean,
Yeah.
it's
that simple.
It's unfortunate, but good for the kids to go get some money. But that's the game you're playing now. You're not really. There are still a lot of kids that want to be in a spot where they can succeed and grow and get an education and stuff like that. But right now, you're recruiting with dollars. It's free agency. You're trying to make the best offer possible.
Yeah, I mean, look what had just happened. The Aztecs lost 2 starters to the portal, and then they went and got a kid from USD because the step up from USD to San Diego State, no knock on Steve Lavin, no knock on the Jenny Craig Pavilion, but it's a real step up. So players are looking for real steps up, right? And from San Diego State to a Power 5 school, that's a financial step up, a couple $100,000, $400,000. Aztecs are going to be able to get people who are looking for the step up from a smaller school and maybe getting paid nothing to coming to a good legacy program and maybe getting a little bit.
Yeah.
Remember, you get paid more not playing for the Power 5 school than you do starting for a Group of 5 school right now.
Wayne McKinney, goes from USD over to SDSU. He was part of our Salute to Champions event this
He's
year.
great.
Yeah.
He's a great
because
kid.
he has overcome cancer. He's a pretty cool kid.
Let's see what Mark in El Cajon has to say. Hi, Mark. We're taking you right on the air. Ask us anything.
Oh, I was going to ask you something kind of obnoxious, so I won't do it on the air.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
wow.
Have a good one. Bye.
All right, bye. What was
Wait,
that?
did he tell us? He just called to tell us he was going to ask us something obnoxious?
I guess.
Or we're sounding obnoxious? I don't know.
I'm
He's going to
confused.
ask something obnoxious.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well then, yeah, thank you for not doing that.
But thanks for
Thank
letting us
God.
know you were going to, I guess. I don't know that was necessary.
That
but
was
all
really
right.
weird. I just should never have taken the call. It's fine. Okay, quickies. Disneyland or Universal?
Disney.
Disney.
Not even a
Disney.
question.
Yeah, Disneyland. Earlier, we were given SeaWorld, the zoo, or the Wild Animal Park.
I got to go to the zoo.
I think the zoo's world famous for a reason.
Yeah. I like to walk around it, get a lot of steps in, spend a day.
The
half
Wild
day
Animal
there.
Park concept's kind of cool because they're all like in one big space. You
I
get
just
to-
haven't been there in a while. I
But-
bet if I went
And
there.
it's called Safari Park now. I
Right,
called
well,
it by the old name.
Okay.
Whatever.
I
We
need,
understand
I need to
what
go
we're
there
saying.
again.
Yeah,
You know what? It's kind of cool during the wintertime. Like they have like some nights.
Oh, yeah.
You could go walk around and stuff. They got adult beverages. You can get your little, your IPA, and you walk around the night version of it. I know they do it in the summer a little bit too, but during Christmas time or the holidays, they have lights up all over the place, and you can see the nocturnal animals.
A friend of mine
pretty cool.
on an off day, that is really cool, Braden. A friend of mine on an off day was standing in line and looked up, and there was Juan Soto with his family at the Wild Animal Park.
No way, really?
Just taking it. Yeah, everyone was kind of leaving him alone, but he just was enjoying the Wild Animal Park with his family. It was
Good for
pretty
him.
cool. Yeah.
It's delightful.
I know.
day.
I like it.
glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he was a heck of a kid.
It's so wholesome.
I like both the zoo and the safari park / wild animal park, but I'll just say zoo for the purpose of the answer. Because that's the one we've gone to objectively more, because one is right in the middle of the city and one is way up out there.
Escondido.
Yeah, past San Pasqual High School.
Yeah, you're like, hey, are we in Valley Center now? Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Absolutely. And with that, we are approaching the final minute of the program today. So I want to say thanks and wrap up like we try to do every single week with just a note of gratitude. You know, we just completed the 4th month of the show. We know we're a new show, building chemistry, building an audience. The audience has been building and growing all the time, and we say thank you so very, very much. It is a privilege to do this job. We will never take it for granted. It is also a pleasure to get to come in and talk sports with y'all and influence avocado consumption in the greater San Diego County region and using the #1 sports station in order to move our superstitions forward. So thank you, honestly, from the bottom of the heart. Thanks to everybody who has supported and continued to support this show.
Seconded. I agree. We're grateful for all of you. Appreciate it.
Have a great weekend, Annie.
Have a great weekend, Craig and Braden. Have a great weekend to everyone listening. Enjoy it.
For Annie Halbin, for Braden Soprenet, I'm Craig Elsten. Gwen and Chris is next. This has been Annie and Elsten on The Fan.